What's going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown Your Questions, episode 39, the E3 special. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
Why, hello there.
Brian Manjoma.
I'm back.
Bitches. Say it.
I'm back. That's all you need to know. I'm back.
Brett Murdoch.
What's up, bitches?
There you go. Thank you, Brett. Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up?
And joining us tonight, Mr. Michael Crawford, a.k.a. Rickson One, the only one.
Shaboy, what's up?
It's like old times, man.
Yeah, man. So
Yo, man,
how's it going?
Classic Throwdown right now.
basically. Manny, by the way, I like how you always keep calling it the Throwdown every time you host. It's like, yo, man, stop the
I'm
Throwdown.
sorry. It's just one of those things I have. It's just from what we were before. It's like it blends together. You know, hello and welcome to the Throwdown. You know, like, yeah.
You get rid of it.
Throwdown your questions.
Next time I will remember. Next time I'm not gonna try to do fucking graphics.
Yeah, Manny and I talked about this. Like, dude, just go into it raw, man. Don't even worry
literally,
about it.
Literally, the two additional shows that I had was like, fuck, and then it's like, all right, welcome to the Throwdown. So, yeah, now I've learned my lesson, and I'm not going to do any sort of graphics when we come in.
Yo,
So
man, but
just
that
to
was a
make
good
it
episode.
easier.
Though. I heard that shit like one of the fans.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's like me when we were on when you were Throwdown and I wasn't. I'd be literally commenting to you like the day later while in AIM or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's want to get to it as quick because we got a lot of shit to talk about. But first of all,
Real quick, Tony.
what's up? What's up?
Now that we're on air, you weren't here on Thursday when
No, I wasn't.
we had like this. It was a beautiful bird. The crow was cooked perfectly for you, and you weren't here to eat it.
Okay,
Well,
what
like
was
I
it for?
basted it and everything.
What was the bird?
Do you remember saying that like when I was like, yeah, man, I'm in Shenmue and Final Fantasy VII? You're like, not gonna happen.
Yeah, I got a story about that, by the way. I guess I could save it for a little bit later, but yeah, I did say that, and I'm glad I was wrong. But again, some very interesting. Okay, first of all, a couple things. I was checking out our stats the other day, like probably last week, obviously. We have fans in South Africa.
That's nice.
It's very interesting.
Wow.
And one of them, his name is Div. He sent us a question, which I'll talk about that in a bit. We'll answer later. And he's like, hey, here's my question. We love you guys in South Africa. Fucking awesome. So
Yes,
there we go.
That's the amazing thing about the internet. You can reach people that you would probably never ever be able to meet, and that's an awesome thing.
So yeah, shout out to all you. Oh, I see Kristen in the background. So shout out to everybody in South Africa. And here's the other thing I find interesting. So our two biggest countries outside of the U.S. are, South Africa and Japan. I'm like, okay, hello, Japan.
Yeah, welcome Japan. That's nice to see that you guys. Well, here's the thing. I mean, there may be a certain amount of people over there that are, there are quite a bit of Western, Americans and people from Europe and stuff doing actual work over there. So, nice.
Domo arigato, all that shit.
Yes.
Despite all that shit we talk about Nintendo, they still love us in Japan.
I mean, who knows if they feel, that's the one weird, thing. That's one thing about Japan. You don't actually get to hear a lot of Japanese opinions because, of course, they don't speak English. And what does the Japanese side think of all of this stuff? What do they think about American games?
What's up, Brett?
Well, no, at least to a certain extent. Like it's actually kind of fascinating because our love for Japanese culture is, at least in the younger generation, for the most part reciprocated. Like Japanese people love American rock music. They love tattoos and Coca-Cola and I think it's a culture thing. The same way we tend to be very loud and brash and be a man, look somebody in the eye. Like these are all very American ideas. I was talking to somebody about that the other day about how you can't just go over to Europe and just start looking people in the eye and talking to people. Like that's not how it works in certain places. It's like, what? So you just go over there and people aren't a man? And I'm like, that right there, that is the stereotype. But to a certain extent, that gregariousness, that overdoing it and turning it up to 11, like you see emulated in some Western filters of like anime or something like that. So to a certain extent, it is reciprocated, and Tony especially is, we're a boisterous group. So You know,
damn right.
very,
That's why I
very.
like my E3 shows on fire.
So, you know, maybe they like us because they like us, or maybe they like us because they're Westerners, or maybe
I
it's
don't
a
know.
culture exchange.
Maybe it's maybe I don't
Either
know.
way, it's interesting.
Yeah, man.
I
So
mean,
yeah, shout out to those countries, man. It's fucking great. You know, because
yeah.
I figured the only dudes I listen to are like Americans and British dudes. Nope, we got and the Philippines is another one. Like, cool. Shout out to the Philippines.
Well, one good thing, I mean, the thing about the Philippines is they, a lot of them speak English over there, so you can understand what's going on in here.
Yeah, exactly.
Plus we're essentially an international cast, right?
Basically, hey, you know what? The Philippines are kind of like Hispanics. You know, they're another native people that got fucked by the Spanish, and you got a whole other new race out of that. You know,
Yeah,
you got dudes called Horn Ping del Toro. You know, over there. It's
our character designer on Ninja Turtles was Adrian Barrios, and he looked Asian, but he was, he had a Hispanic last name.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is hilarious to kind of be called Barrios.
Yeah, Barrios. Well, dude, he's Filipino. What do you expect?
No. But the word barrio in general.
Oh yeah. It's funny. All right.
It's like being called Charles Slum. You know what I mean?
Yeah, kind of. In the show notes I wrote Vamp for E3, but I guess we'll do that along the course of the questions and stuff. Yes, yeah. E3. I was there for the most amount of time, so I will have a lot of things to say. Some bitching too that I didn't do on Twitter yet. I have some serious gripes with the show, but I'll get to that later on. My fucking questions. Here we go. The first one. Final Stage Boss. He actually asked the most of them. By the way, this is what happened. So Final Stage Boss writes a million questions because nobody asked E3 questions. Everybody was asking random other stuff. And then at the last minute, everybody else asked E3 shit. Hence why we're going to have 2 episodes, but we'll get to that later. All right, first one is... I've heard most gamers say they didn't spend $400, $500 on the next-gen consoles to play old-gen games. If that's true, then why are they so happy about a backwards compatibility announcement, which allows them to play hundreds of old-gen games on their next-gen console? I mean, I could say the obvious one because it's their system now. They got the backwards compatibility. That's why they're happy about it. But I really don't know. It's a weird thing. By the way, I got to address this real quick because there's a bunch of Sony fans talking bullshit. Like, oh, it's not a big deal. Yes, it is. The real backwards compatibility. You put your fucking disc in a console and you play your old game. That's a big deal. That's a fucking megaton. You can't downplay it. It's just insane to me how these guys the whole week. No, that's not a big deal. So I'm sorry, guys. PlayStation Now is dumb shit now compared to this. It is irrelevant. I know Mr. Capello is gonna be shit. I'm the Sony hater now apparently. But dude, I'm sorry. PS Now is fucking done. Xbox killed it effectively. So you can't take that away from them.
I think in general they did the one thing that everybody has kind of been asking when your consoles are not backward compatible. How cool would it? Why is PlayStation 3? As of now, has a shitload of PlayStation library, right? PlayStation 2 library. Why the hell can't you stick your fucking PlayStation 2 game inside the PlayStation 3? It senses that you have a PlayStation 2 game in there, and then it downloads the game, if the game is available.
Basically. Anyway, so the first one. So why are these guys all excited when they were like, "Oh, I didn't buy my console to play old games." Now they're like, "Oh my God, old games." Again, I'm sticking with my answer. Oh, go ahead, Brian.
Because it's backwards compatibility, and that's what pretty much most people I know have been asking for since this console's launched.
Yeah, but why did they say that statement then? Like I didn't buy a console to play old games.
Who said that?
Do I need to name names?
Dude, you're
taking
names. A different context.
Name 2 actually. Other Zink and Torrance Davis. That's who, among others.
That doesn't sound like Torrance to me, but
yeah, Torrance said that.
Anyway, to me, I think again, I'm agreeing with Tony here. Like, it's a damn big deal. And plus, it's backwards compatibility. Like, who doesn't love that? Like,
yes.
Like, it's the same reason why these remastered games sells, because people want to play those old crappy games. Like I don't know how he can sit there and say, oh, who wants to play these old crappy games when remasters sell like shit tons. Well, not like shit tons, but the remasters sell and like they're like focal points of like these games now. It's like, hey, this game's getting a remaster. This game's getting a remaster. It's like people want to play those games because those games are good, So if someone gave you the chance to play those good games without any restrictions or without any waiting, then why not? Like if someone said to me, hey, Brian, you can take your Dragon's Dogma disc and put it inside your PS4 and it'll just work. I'm like, okay, cool, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
You know?
You can't downplay that, so it's just amazing to me. These dudes are trying to. It's not really a big deal. PlayStation now is better. How? So let's break it down logically. So PlayStation now is better because you get to pay $20 like for 3 months to own it, to rent a game that you could buy for $20 for the rest of your fucking life. Come on, PlayStation now is dumb. It was always dumb, and now it looks really stupid compared to.
I think if the way to kind of follow this sort of thing is just if they can somehow make it work with some of the old games.
Because right now it's only going to be limited to 100.
Yeah, it's only limited to 100, for Xbox. But at least that's 100, for now. What about later? There's a bunch of other games that they could throw on there, which is cool. They're essentially doing what PlayStation did with the PlayStation 3, where it was like, okay, we're just going to semi-port these games and put them out. So,
yeah. All right. Anybody else want to jump in on this one?
Run them in emulation.
Rico, go ahead, Brett. Now,
I have a point to make.
Okay, go ahead.
I didn't buy my car simply to transport beverages from point A to point B, but I'm still fucking pissed if my car doesn't have a cup holder. Does that make any sense?
I know what you mean. Yeah.
It's not. That's not. People. Okay, one, that's not its main function, but it's still a good function. And two, like you're taking both comments out of context. People said I didn't buy my new system to play old games when they were releasing remaster after remaster, basically saying I would like some new content to go with my new system. That, however, doesn't mean that they don't want access to continue playing the old games. They still want to play their old games. That's just not why they bought a next-gen system.
Okay, and yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and plus, everything you said about everybody wants backwards compatibility. This isn't a new thing. This has been a thing since systems were systems.
Yeah, since the Nintendo Entertainment System, people have always wanted backward compatibility. Which, by the way, I was actually watching. You ever heard of this one? There's this guy online who used to be on Tech TV, and what he does, he specializes in breaking down consoles. So he breaks down a Super Nintendo, and he finds out that the fucking thing is backward compatible.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
It just has to do with a couple of things inside of it, but they actually had some sort of backward compatibility components inside of the Super Nintendo. Fuck you, Nintendo.
Riku, get in here, man. What do you think?
Okay. So backwards compatibility is great. I love it. So here's the way I look at it, because I was talking to one of my friends who brought this up, and it's a good point. It's a good perspective to see it from. But like you said, Tony, you cannot downplay backwards compatibility at the end of the day. So I'm just going to throw this out there. Backwards compatibility is good for, in my opinion, for me as a gamer, I think backwards compatibility is good for a console within its first 3 to 4 years on the market. Because around that time, you don't have shit to play. All the new games all your next gen games are still being created, which is why everyone still wants to play the games on the console they just came from. When we got our PS4s, we were all wondering where backwards compatibility. And in my opinion, they still can do backwards compatibility on the PS4. The reason they don't want to is because it will make PlayStation Now look redundant. And obviously, the only reason PlayStation Now exists in the first place is because they want money. I really do think that Sony can make the PS4 backwards compatibility, but they're not going to do it because PS Now is there.
Oh yeah, they absolutely can.
Yeah, you see how easy it is, and you saw how quick the Xbox did it, and then they got that nice hit on Sony at E3, saying you don't have to pay for your games that you already own. That was great. That
was a nice one. Let me ask you though.
That was a nice one. Go ahead.
Did Microsoft basically jump on a grenade in order to make that hit? Like, they're obviously going to lose money,
That's
right?
a good question. Yeah, I know where you're going, Brett.
So was this the typical anime moment where you take the punch to the face in order to impale the other guy?
Maybe, because they're going to have to take a hit a little bit on this.
So
they're not going to make money off of it.
They're obviously not going to make money off of it because that nearly destroys any opportunity of any type of remaster that's going to come to your console, because at the end of the day, if you already own a game, let's say Gears.
What about Gears of War though?
Yeah,
And
like I
Gears of
said,
War,
there's a good example. The Gears
backward
isn't.
compatible. Let's just put that one out there.
Yeah, it's not gonna
Games
be,
like that, they're not going to be backwards compatible. They're going to want you to play that remastered version. And when you think of it that way, that's kind of like, wait, you're not going to give me, the backwards compatibility for Gears 1 because you want me to get the remastered version. But you're going to give me backwards compatibility, but not 100%. So it's you definitely have to look at it at different perspectives. But like you said, at the end of the day, backwards compatibility is good. Regardless if it was 75% of the library, 10% of the library, backwards compatibility is good. But like I said, when you honestly think about it, 5 years from now, no one's really going to be using it. Everyone's going to be one to play those games. But for right now,
that's a great point.
It is definitely worth it.
It's a wonderful buffer. I mean,
you're right about that. 5 years from now, that shit's going to be irrelevant. You're right.
But the thing is that I think with some of the some of the situations, like especially we kind of especially with like the PlayStation 3 when that one was backward compatible, they PlayStation 2 games were like wound up doing really, really well, and they kept doing well way into its lifetime until it finally.
You definitely keep your previous console and your ecosystem both alive. Like you said, that is one of the main reasons why the PS2 stayed around even longer than it was supposed to. And like I said, right here, I still have to turn on my PS3 to play certain games because I get for them trophies, man. And some of those games are still on my PS3. So from time to time, I still have to turn on my PS3 and play those. So yeah, backwards compatibility for a guy like me would have definitely helped out. And I do like the fact that when they said backwards compatibility on the Xbox One, you're able to stream those backwards compatible games on your Xbox One and all the other stuff. That's a great feature that they.
The one thing that I thought was cool about it all, also was the fact that they could actually take screenshots and stream the old games.
Exactly.
Even on PlayStation, you can't do that.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great point.
Like especially like or when you're doing shit like you're doing stuff through their Vita the Vita share system. Like you can't take any screenshots off of your Vita of the thing that you're doing.
And I don't think you can take screenshots in PlayStation now, can
you? Yeah, you can't. You can't take any screenshots of PlayStation now.
Yeah, so there you go. By the way, I need to jump in real quick with this because we were talking about who's going to make money off of this. GameStop's going to make money off of this because you know what they're going to do? This is my theory. They're going to start selling those old-ass Xbox 360 games and put a sticker on top of it. Also compatible with the Xbox One. Watch that shit happen.
Okay, look at it this way. Like, this is good for Microsoft in a number of ways for PR. Number one, any game that now comes out that's not on their backwards compatible list, and you look at your Microsoft and you're like, what the fuck? Microsoft can point directly at the publisher and go, oh, no, not me, they're the asshole.
Ooh, that's true.
Yeah, so, they don't. Yeah, because they said that it doesn't require any sort of additional work by the publisher who originally made the game.
Yeah, and Microsoft specifically said this is up to the publisher. It's their decision. So if a publisher doesn't put a game out, Microsoft will be like, that ain't our fault. You go talk to them.
Yeah. So they get all the good graces. They run none of the risk. And yeah, if they start selling more, like I don't know if anybody's been to GameStop recently. That place is a fucking ghost town. It's pathetic. Like I dropped in there to pick up a used controller for my PC. Like there's like 12 fucking games on the shelf. Everything else is just empty coming soon boxes. They're really in their death throes. So
the last few
times we go to different GameStops. Mike's is always bustling, man.
The one close to us is pretty. Yeah, they do pretty.
It's weird. The ones here are usually are busy.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, maybe it's just mine then, but.
No, it's mine also. I go in there and I'm like, can I get this PSN card? He's like, you want to buy a game? I'm like, no, can I just buy this PSN card? You want to subscribe to Game Informer? No, can I just buy this PSN card? We're going to use that PSN card to buy a game off the PlayStation.
Can you stop trying to sell me things that are not the things that I want? No, we
can't. To buy a game off the PlayStation Store that's not here?
Oh, man. All right, I want to move on to the next question, but Chris, quick thoughts, and then we can move on.
People care about backwards compatibility. I don't care what they say. if anyone was saying in the beginning that they didn't care about it, it's just because it wasn't there. It's obviously a good thing. Remember the PS3 when they transitioned it, they made the slim version, they took out backwards compatibility for
Yeah,
PS2
Man,
games.
everybody was.
People were livid. I was pissed too. Like, I enjoyed mine up until it died, and I got the Super Slim one.
Same.
But just like Riku made the same point, it was years later, and I didn't really care at that point. So I got my Super Slim. I play my PS3 games.
Exactly. You care
But
for
in
the first
beginning,
4 years.
yeah, I care.
Yep.
That's the best. That is the best time to. That is the most relevant. Backwards compatibility is going to be for every single life cycle. The next console
especially
after this is going to be the same thing. Everybody's going to want to play their PS4 games on their PS5.
Yeah.
I also think about the fact that people who didn't own a PlayStation, not a PlayStation, an Xbox 360. To be honest, that means that you could play a bunch of games that you didn't, you may have missed out on. So.
Exactly.
Sure.
Yeah,
and I'll say
exactly.
one more thing, like
Go ahead.
Sony could just make PS Now free at this point.
Yeah, it's like seriously, the PS Now
Or
is
just
so
at least-
redundant now.
Man, I've been telling people 380. How much was it? $380 million to buy Gaikai? That was the biggest waste of money they could have possibly used on it. But like you said, yeah, the best thing they could do is just like bundle it with PlayStation Plus and try to give you as many games as possible. I have no clue what the hell they can do with
It's
that.
like how do you go to someone, hey, pay for this, and the other guy's like, yo, here you go, it's free. Like, you can't get away. It's stupid, and the service isn't much better. It's like,
I mean, I actually know people out there that enjoy PlayStation Now, and I'm surprised that they do. But
who are these people?
What's wrong with PlayStation Now? Like,
no,
it
I mean,
works.
if you have a good
nothing wrong
connection,
with it.
it works,
There's
and I
nothing
see
wrong with it,
people
but
actually playing and enjoying
there's
it.
nothing wrong with it. But the thing is, it's like you're paying for something that the other guys are giving you for free now. Come on, man.
No, they're not giving it to you for free because you still got to go out and you got to buy those games. Like,
What if you
tell
own
me
them?
how many decent games you can go out and get for $20. Like, especially at a fucking GameStop, like shitty like bottom of the barrel games, still go for $10. So you can just pay $20. Think of it more like a GameFly thing. You pay $20 a month and you are secured for having at least a few games to play.
No, you're not. You're secured for one game for $20. That's the problem with that bullshit, dude.
Oh, wait, it is only one game?
Yes.
I thought it was up to 3.
No, it's a one game for $20, bro.
There is the subscription.
Better go to Amazon.
Yeah, the subscription is even like the subscription is dumb too, though. It's like no matter how you slice it, PlayStation Now has always been dumb. Hey, Brett, I can't see you, by the way. I don't know what's going on with your camera.
Yeah, we're experiencing some broadband throttling right now because our signal's going bad. So I'm apparently out of video.
Okay, just wanted. As long as we hear your sexy voice, that's what matters.
Can I jump in like really quickly?
Go ahead, man. Then we'll move on.
It's not going to really help those guys that are watching live or listening live, but I just had a quick look through at the backwards compatibility list, and I noticed that one of the images was a Gears of War box art. So I did some research, and it's actually the first Gears of War box art that is featured on the compatibility list pictures. So I posted into the chat, so you guys like on the Throwdown can see. But yet, those who can't see, just have a look on the website. It's there between Borderlands and whatnot, and that's the first Gears of War box art.
Interesting.
So I don't know if that confirms it or denies it, but it's there. Reasons why it's there, I don't know, but who knows? So it could mean that.
Does the Gears of War, because they're remastering Gears of War 1 on the Xbox One, correct?
Yeah, but it's also on this.
Now I'm wondering if what you just found is true, and you can play your original Xbox 360 version of Gears of War 1. Are those servers are most likely not connected, are they? You can't. Those Xbox 360 people most likely can't play with the Xbox One.
I doubt
Gears of War players.
Probably not.
Probably not.
All right, let's move on to the next question. Okay, the industry is in agreement that Sony crushed it and won E3 as usual. Sony dropped 3 nuclear atomic bombs by announcing 3 mythical games that gamers have been begging and praying for years. In The Last Guardian, Shenmue III, and Final Fantasy VII. Did you guys ever think that any of those games will ever see the light of day? I already said no, but here's what I want to tell. I'm not going to name names, but my insider, he sends me this. He goes, Shenmue 3, Final Fantasy VII, The Last Guardian, have fun. And I show this to the boys. I'm like, let's see how many of these come true. Every single one of them came true. Manny, you said this on Throwdown. It was this thing, the Sony conference was like fanfic. It was like,
fan
hey,
fiction.
it was fan fiction, basically. It was like, hey, we're going to have Final Fantasy VII Remake. We're going to have The Last Guardian. We're going to have Shenmue III. That reads like fucking fan fiction. I didn't think it was going to happen. Okay, I'm going to break it down like this. Last Guardian, I knew it would happen eventually. Final Fantasy VII, I figured maybe distant. Shenmue 3, I figured no way that's going to happen. No fucking way. So there you go. Very interesting. So did any of you guys think these games aren't going to come?
Can I just dial back the question like a couple more sentences? Who is this? Everyone in the industry agrees that Sony won.
Oh, by the way, it was Final Stage Boss that asked this. So
yeah, okay, maybe in your circles of who you talk to and who you listen to and whatnot, Sony won. But I talk to other people in different circles, and depending on which circle you ask, they say that different countries won. For example, the Xbox guys will say that Microsoft won it.
Exactly.
The PC guys, they don't really seem to care. They care that about the division being downgraded. Yeah. Nintendo guys would say that Nintendo won it because they're Nintendo and they're crazy. The general consensus of people that don't seem to have an affiliation is that Bethesda won it because of Fallout 4. So I don't know who you talk to, but the people that I talk to say that different companies have won, and I don't think that's Sony won.
The only part I want to take an issue with is he said, as usual, no, Sony lost, as far as I'm concerned, both years last time. So this is the first time they won over Microsoft, as far as I'm concerned.
You don't think Sony won the last one?
No, because they showed a bunch of bullshit. They showed a bunch of fucking stats and TV, all that crap. I don't want to see that shit. And by the way,
when they throttled Microsoft for their business,
you're talking about the year before last, Tony, not last.
Yeah, you're talking about the year before last.
Yeah, I'm talking about last year, 2014, 2013. Even when Sony dropped that megaton of that was a megaton, it's a microton. Let's be honest. The 399 microton, that was cool, but you know what? That thing had a lot of filler, a lot of fluff. Like I said before the show, I go to E3 for information and to be fucking entertained. If the entertainment drops a little, you're gonna lose points off your conference. Microsoft kept me entertained the entire time. This year both of them kept me entertained, but Sony just had more shit in it. Oh, by the way, kudos to Sony. Thank you for keeping the Oculus Rift bullshit or what Morpheus to a bare minimum. I fucking love that.
Number one, they had absolutely no, as I said on the throwdown, they had absolutely no way of showing that and making it interesting. So just the best thing they could have done is said, head over to our booth and see what it's like.
Yeah, and I like the fact that, hey, by the way, we got this VR. It's optional. You don't need it for your games. Let's move on. Thank you for that, Sony. And thank you for not giving us the stupid bullshit stats that you do every fucking year. And by the way, I also want to say this. This is what I think happened. Sony had their whole press conference set up. They were going to, because you know how Sony loves talking about all their features, right? So they were watching Microsoft's conference, right? As soon as Microsoft dropped that bomb, they're like, oh, the PlayStation Now part, just erase that from the show. Just get rid of that. So what was the question again? Oh, yeah, The Last Guardian, Shenmue, Final Fantasy VII. Did anybody else think these games were going to show?
I didn't think we'd ever see Final Fantasy VII Remake. Not until Square was in the toilet. When the president pulls his pockets and moths come out, that's when Final Fantasy VII Remake would happen.
Yeah, especially when they have they're hyping up 15, which they didn't even mention.
Yeah,
and Kingdom Hearts 3, which we saw. So you would think with those two giant games on the way, another big game like that was just that is surprising to see Square give you that much content. But like I said, well, I actually didn't say it, but this is the first time you're going to hear it. I don't think that Final Fantasy VII remake is coming anytime soon, dude.
No, hell no.
No, because they got 15 on the way.
We're talking about early 2018.
Yeah, they'll give it some distance from.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go as far as 2018. I'm gonna go 2017.
I'd say holiday 2017.
Yeah, that's what I say.
And when do you think Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming out?
Shit,
Do you think it's gonna be before or after Final Fantasy VII Remake?
That's a good question because we know it's definitely gonna be after. It's gonna be after Final Fantasy 15. They already said that.
Yeah. But before Final Fantasy VII Remake?
I'm stumped.
No, Final Fantasy VII Remake will come last.
Yeah, you're probably
right. That's why I said early 2018 because I can see Final Fantasy. I can see Kingdom Hearts 3 mid.
Yeah, you're right.
Don't you think they'd align the Final Fantasy VII Remake for a holiday sale? That's a no-brainer.
Yeah, no, I would also do that. I think they'll put a separate team on it. I think that they know how important it is. So they will go through. They've already said that they've got a lot of the original staff on board, so I think they're putting together a special team specifically to do this. And I'm sure they'll borrow assets from other departments, but I think this will be a development cycle that runs parallel to their other games and somewhat isolated from the rest of the company. Like, this is going to be somebody's baby.
Yeah, by the way, I'm getting some information now. I'm not going to say names. I will say this on air. We're going to see more Final Fantasy VII this year. I won't say when. Okay. So, yeah, it'll be earlier than 2018. I'll just say that.
Oh, okay, cool. I think we got a Final Fantasy VII Remake question later on anyway. So we're going to move on and come back.
Right, yeah. I mean, okay, anybody else want to say anything about these games being announced before we move on?
I do.
Right, I do. Yeah, Brad, I know you do, man.
I was waiting for last. All you motherfuckers laughed at the twinkle in my eye. You all thought I was fucking hopeless, and you all thought I had my head in the clouds. But lo and behold, we have Final Fantasy and Shenmue, so all you doubters can suck it, because I told you this was coming. I told you.
Yeah, that was astronomically impossible to think you get Shenmue and Final Fantasy VII Remake at the same time, like in the same show.
Wasn't it back to back?
When I got this information, I was like, I have never been more right than this.
It was ridiculous. Like I would never. Like that was even more improbable that you get both of them.
Yeah, both of them. It was insane. It's like I said, it was like fan fiction. And my friend Ryan from DualShocker, he said if they would have announced Half-Life 3, that would have been every game you could have wanted at one fucking E3. You know, it's like
I had a moment where I was like, should I Google for Half-Life 3 news? Because it feels like there should be Half-Life 3 news right now.
Oh wait, it was on their site. Yeah. It was on Valve's site though.
But dude, think about it. You had Fallout 4, you had The Last Guardian, you had Shenmue 3, you had Final Fantasy VII. What's the one that's missing? Everyone was expecting it at that point.
If they would have announced Half-Life 3, I would have been like, all right, guys, like that's it. Like I'm gonna buy these games, and I think I'm retiring as a gamer because this is it. This is the echelon. Like, what the fuck else am I supposed to do? I'm just gonna play these games forever. I don't even care if you fuck up the Division anymore. Go ahead, fuck it.
Like, what's a Division?
Yeah.
All right, anybody else?
Like at that point, Brad, I've been like, okay, this is end times now because this is not how.
The apocalypse is here. The apocalypse is here. This is insane. Fucking crazy.
Well, them guy in like 2 days and that's it. Okay, so it's nice knowing you guys.
We're never actually gonna play any of these games. The Earth is about to swallow us whole.
There will never be an E3 like this ever again. This is insane. Like, we got everything. Fan fiction.
Yeah. The only question now is, what are we going to complain about now?
I don't know.
Now the only thing you have to complain about is when the game comes out and they suck.
Yeah. There'll always be complaints.
I mean, like, what are we going to like want next? Because like we have like Last Guardian, Final Fantasy VII, and now Shenmue. So what now? Half-Life 3 is like the last one left.
That's it. That's the last one. And then Fallout 4, that's coming. So there you go. Everything's here. Everything has come out. Thank you, video game industry.
Portal 3.
I guess you could yell at Ubisoft for Beyond Good and Evil too.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, where's our Beyond?
There's stuff that we'd be like, I want a new, I want Shadow of the Colossus, but like, these are the big, like, every E3 these rumors pop up and they circle the drain and they never come true. Like, we won't have those Bigfoot sightings anymore. Like, we're gonna have to make a new Bigfoot.
Yes.
Like, I hear they're making Mutant League Football again? I don't even know. Like, we're gonna have to make up some shit that's completely improbable, circulate those rumors for 8 years until it happens.
Exactly. It's insane. All right, let's move on. This is for all of us individually. What do you guys think was the best new IP? For me, Horizon Zero Dawn was the best new IP by far.
That was a nice one.
I don't know if I want to say it because that was a good one, but you know which one I liked? And this is an Xbox game, by the way. The Rapture game, or Rupture, whatever the fuck it was called. That thing was cool.
Recore?
Yeah, Recore, thank you. That thing was cool as shit. It was like a good knack, you know? Yeah, I'm going to go with Horizon because that was like, oh, wow. Like, here's what I liked about it. Manny, you mentioned this too. You get your gameplay, you get the footage, it was cool, and then all of a sudden, here's an HUD, go play. It's like, oh, shit. And what's cool about that game is it's like, it's a weird thing. It's like, it's futuristic, but it's like dinosaurs, but the dinosaur robot. It reminded me of Enslaved. That's what it reminded me of,
Yeah, like, it definitely felt like a Ninja Theory game. It almost kind of reminds me of the Ninja Theory game that's currently in development right now.
Yeah. By the way, even though it got announced last year.
To a slight extent.
Even though it got announced last year, Cuphead still counts too, by the way.
Yeah,
That's still a
Cuphead.
new IP. New Cuphead looks fucking amazing.
I got to play that one. I said that one before, but yeah, it was a fun game. It's mostly a boss rush mode though. You don't have any little platforming. It's mostly you're just fighting bosses each time.
I'll talk about this game later. You know what game surprised me? For Honor. I was like, oh, okay. I was not expecting this. Like I literally go to the booth and like, hey, go play For Honor. I don't know what the hell the game. I have no idea what the game's about. So I go in there. I'm like, oh, it's a medieval game. Oh, it's all about parrying. This is cool, but I'll get to that in a bit. Okay, it's between that and For Honor, so I'm gonna go with those two. And special shout out to Recore and Cuphead. All right, Rico, what about you? Best new IP?
I have to give it to Horizon also, but For Honor, that did look really good because it felt like it looked. It looked like a competitive, more complex version of Shadows of Mordor.
A little bit. I see what you're talking about.
Like the competitive third-person, not even hack and slash, because you're not even hacking and slashing. There's definitely some strategy behind it, because if you go under hack and slashing, you're just gonna get parried and fucked.
Yeah.
So, I'm. It's a tie between those two, and I'm surprised because I don't like Ubisoft games. The only Ubisoft game I like is Rayman and Prince of Persia, and both of those games are kind of bad. So
bring them shits back, man. Fuck.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for Rayman 4. That's not. Yeah.
All right, Manny.
I was gonna say Horizon, but definitely, I really enjoyed Cuphead. I'm even considered. Look, from a lot of the Xbox, show, I'm definitely thinking about picking up an Xbox.
There you go, man.
There you go.
Right,
they won't hear that part.
Yeah, they won't hear that part. And I said it, by the way. I'm like, I tweeted that shit. I'm like, I think I want to get an Xbox now. They didn't pay attention to that shit. All right, go ahead, Chris.
I liked what I saw with Recore, and I did like Horizon a lot. Like I thought that was great. Also, I thought Firewatch looked very interesting, so I'll put that on there.
Yeah. By the way, doesn't Last Guardian technically count as a new IP?
Yes, it does. Even though
we never got it. Yeah, so it's still new because we never got it.
Oh man! All right, Brian.
I'm seem to be the only one in disagreement with you and Horizon. I wasn't that impressed. I seen it and I was like, okay, looks cool, but it felt highly scripted. It felt like I was watching like a Call of Duty demo where it's like they do specific things to show you the game from a specific angle to show off its best bits. It felt like that to me. It's like, okay, I see what you're doing, but yeah, I want to see the other stuff that you're not showing me. But I don't know. I wasn't blown away like you guys seem to be. I was just like, looks okay. I'll think about it if it comes across my line of sight again. But now it's just, it can fall by the wayside. I wouldn't care.
Do you like Tomb Raider?
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
That's interesting that you're impressed by Tomb Raider, but not that.
Oh, I enjoyed it. I didn't say that I was impressed by it. I was like, it's Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider's good.
Yeah, I know what Brian's saying. He's saying you weren't impressed by it, but you may enjoy it if you play it.
Yeah, it may end up like Shadows of Mordor for me, or like Guardians of the Galaxy. I seen it. I wasn't that impressed. I watched it. I thought it was phenomenal. So, hey.
All right. As for the game you actually enjoyed, yeah,
For Honor, definitely. I thought that was just really clever, even though that technically it is a pseudo rip-off of Chivalry, Medieval Warfare, which is already out now on PC. So it's kind of like, I see what you did there, Ubisoft. You claim to have like a new IP that's never been done before, but essentially like all you did was like copy the MOBA genre and that game and put them together and say, hey, a new game, people. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it looked interesting and exciting. I want to know like how many people it is. Is it like 4-on-4 or 5-on-5 or what goes
what
on?
I played was 4-on-4.
4-on-4. All right. Like any objectives or just murder each other?
Oh no. There are some objectives. Like the one I was playing, you had to capture certain points and stuff. And then the other thing is like, wait. Only other players you could do parrying stuff with. NPCs you could kill them in one hit. It was very kind of Dynasty Warriors in that regard, Like Like you have a million dudes, and you could literally kill every single one of them. But then the main guys, you have to actually work for. You know, again, I'll get into that in a little bit. Brett, what about you, man? What's your game? You know, of the show?
Yeah, I wasn't super impressed by Horizon. Also, I have to admit, it seemed to have all the right components, but it seemed like it was intentionally built on the right components. And I had flashes of rage, which I was so excited for, and was a decent game. It wasn't. It didn't hit the spot that it kind of promised to. But so I would say I don't know about most excited, but I'm definitely the most intrigued by this Dreams game.
Ah, yes, the Media Molecule game.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I'm interested to see them move away from.
Riku, okay, Brett, say your piece and then Riku can jump in.
I'm interested to see them move away from the whole side-scrolling Sackboy kind of thing and do what I wouldn't say it's adult content, but I'd say it's more adult content and more immersive world building. And I like creative games. I like creating worlds. So I'm interested, and I'm always interested to see what other people come up with too. And the fact that it seemed to, you know, from what it showed us, like if all that was actually made in game and you can like do all that kind of stuff in game, then there's some incredible possibilities for people there.
I have to say this about that game. That was probably the most visually impressive game I saw. Because it looked like fucking stop motion. It was like, wow, that's incredible. You know, I was really blown away by that. By the way, quick thing before we move on. I think this is a Microsoft game too. Like Beyond Eyes or something. It's like the game where you're blind, basically. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, the game made by the blind woman.
Yeah, Beyond Eyes or something like that. That was pretty cool. But Rico, what was with that sigh? The heavy.
Okay, Dreams. I completely agree with Brett when it comes to that, but just like Media Molecule's previous game, Little Big Planet, I am also intrigued by the creations of the people that they're going to put this in the hands of. But the sad truth is, about 40%, and that's a lot, about 40% of those people creating stuff are going to create cocks. There's going to be a lot of disgusting, perverted creations they're just going to hit the web with. And then they're going to get taken down, then they're going to get put back down. And instead of us actually getting good stuff, we're just going to get that. And I just hope that this doesn't fall, because I don't know how many cock rockets I've seen in fucking Little Big Planet. I just wanted a good level. I hope that doesn't get cursed by it.
So Riku, you're not really upset at the game. You're upset at what the shit that fans are going to create with the game.
When I saw him sculpture the face, I'm just like, damn it, you're going to let him sculpture anything? I know you want to give them freedom, but you can't do that with the internet, man. You know they're going to fuck it up, man. It's a great game. It's a great game, and I know what Media Molecule just wants to give people freedom, but people these days, they don't deserve it.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Do you think Nintendo just basically gave up on the Wii U? Yeah, where was the Wii U during their little presentation? I didn't see it. It was like, where Wii U? Where are you? Couldn't find it. Nothing.
The same way. All I got to say to that is the same way Nintendo treats the Wii U is the same way Sony treats the Vita.
Yeah.
It's there. The fan base is there. They really don't need to be advertised. At least. All I'm gonna say to that is at least the install base, the attachment rate for the Vita is actually pretty good. I don't know about the Wii U, but they need to work on that. So I don't know about the Wii U, man. Like Nintendo's main console right now is the 3DS. That's
it is the 3DS, exactly.
Just like how Sony's main console right now is the PlayStation 4. The Vita's there. They're not gonna kill it. They're gonna let it exist. They're not gonna push it. And all of those third parties, Japanese people are going to make games for it, and it's there. Same thing for the Wii U. They're going to let it exist. They're not going to kill it. All those the little third party that the Nintendo base has, they're going to create games for it, and people that have it are going to play it, but they're not going to push it. So why advertise it? That's sad, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Chris, I'm looking at you, man. I know you got some thoughts on this.
Well, the conference was sad, to be honest with you. I mean, they had to follow up, Microsoft, Bethesda, and Sony, so they had their work cut out from right there. And they started with Star Fox, which looked good, but when you look at it closer, it just looked like a repeat of the old games. Like, it looked like they took elements from the unfinished Star Fox 2 and then put the first Star Fox or
Chris, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
about Star Fox. I'm sorry to cut you off. Do you think Star Fox, if Nintendo actually took the time and basically made Star Fox like Ratchet and Clank, do you think Star Fox people would like it?
Yeah, I think so. If you had like a platforming element in it, like an adventure. Oh, like adventure? Well, don't make it like adventure. That was terrible.
Not like adventure, but like kind of like a good adventure, like kind of like with the
Yeah,
controls.
Nobody liked that shit with the dinosaurs, man.
Yeah, no. If you had elements of all the stuff people like, the flying and you're in the army, but if you could get out and do stuff like, yeah, I'm sure people would like that.
They probably had some of his like smash moves in there, just a little bit of it.
Sure, like you summon the army, it comes down, or the tank. Yeah, if they did that, it would be great. And people want more story, and I didn't see that in the presentation. I saw the same story. I saw the old enemies coming out. I'm like, you did this already, like, and you remade the first game technically 3 times,
I don't think they know what they're doing with Star Fox. I mean, they obviously got Mario down packed. They know what the fuck to do with him, and you can do anything with Mario, but with Star Fox, they have to take a different approach with him.
And I do think Nintendo has one foot squarely planted out of the system market. Because right after Star Fox was that Activision Skylander Amiibo deal that they talked about for way too long, and I was like, okay, you guys are now in toys, and then you are saving stuff for the NX because the Wii U stuff was like this big. They're still focusing on 3DS because it's still selling, and that's their main focus, like you said. And they got one foot out the door, and they're talking about toys, and they're working on their mobile stuff. So I think as we go along, and I'll just say this right now, each E3 for them is going to get more disappointing until this NX or whatever comes out, and that is not going to be what everybody thinks it is. Because everybody was telling me when I did my tutorial that, oh, we're going to get Animal Crossing, oh, we're going to get Star Fox, oh, we're going to get Metroid. Yeah, that's why you made a petition, right, for that Metroid Prime that they gave you, that piece of shit Federation Force, that people don't want made now, right? The Animal Crossing is a party game and a homemaking game, right? That's the Animal Crossing you asked them for, right? Believe me, as you go along, Nintendo is just going to keep disappointing you, and it's just going to get worse as it goes along. So this is just a taste, like it's falling, like everything is just getting worse and worse,
That's so intriguing to me that Sony and Nintendo are just completely opposite when it comes to their console and their handheld. One is focused on their console and completely ignoring their handheld, and the other one's doing the complete vice versa. That's so interesting to me.
Right, and right after, well, I don't know, what is half apology or whatever after the conference, and Reggie came out afterwards and said he didn't apologize, and he also said, he basically said he doesn't care what the fans think, which is...
Oh, well, that's always been the case with Nintendo.
Yeah, it's always, but it's just a huge blow. It's like when Microsoft and Sony are listening to their fans and trying to cater to them and do things for them. You have Sony and you have Nintendo in the complete opposite direction. It's like, we don't give a shit what you think here. You can have this.
The only thing Nintendo related I've ever seen they have that cares and listens to the fans is the Smash games and the Smash community. When something Smash related they want inside there, they get it, like Roy and whatnot. But everything else Nintendo related, just like you said, they do.
The thing with Roy is that they knew he was going to be in there. They even found his code in there. So yeah in the actual game. So it's just about them rebalancing him and stuff like that.
And that's the only Wii game they have to keep, updating and keep relevant because it's going to sell more toys. The
Amiibo.
Right, exactly. Skylanders. More Amiibos, yeah, exactly. So.
Did you hear about that Nintendo Skylanders thing?
Yeah, that I mentioned that.
About that.
Yeah. All right. Anything else on this before we move on? Because I think the answer is pretty. Yeah, they did give up on the Wii U. So all right, let's move on. Next one. Sony got timed exclusive rights to the COD DLC that Microsoft used to get, and this angered Xbox fans enough to start the hashtag Xbox or We Riot movement. What do you guys think about this? Yeah, my simple one is, I said this on Twitter. People get angry at me, but I'm going to say again. Hey, listen, COD fans, if you don't like it, go buy a fucking PS4 and shut the fuck up. Simple as that. If you want that bullshit DLC like a month early or something, But here's the let's be honest, guys. Wait a month and you get the fucking DLC. It's not a big deal,
Yeah.
Let me say something quick on that also. Just like you said, these con fans, they did the exact same thing when Remember when PSN went down for a month?
Yeah.
And you heard all those articles about people selling their PS4s because they can't play their COD and they must get an Xbox 360.
You say COD?
The only people, COD, cock, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
It's COD, man.
They don't like their COD easy either. They like big hard COD.
They call it COD, so I'm just
I'm hungry for fish now. Anyway, go ahead.
COD. But yeah, the point is, the only fan base I see doing these crazy type of stuff are the COD fan base. So me hearing them say that they're rioting and doing all this crazy stuff, this is expected because they did this in the past. They're doing it again. It is what it is. They just need to do exactly what they did the last time. You hopped consoles when this shit wasn't working for 1 fucking month. Even though 1 month that's kind of fucking long. Point is, it was 1 month, and the time exclusive thing is what, 2 months?
I think it's like 3 months maximum. Either way, I need to say this too. That was a very smart move on Sony's part because, again, according to them, their lineup is sparse, right? So how do you get these new people on your system? You get the Call of Duty motherfuckers in there because they will, like Rico, you're right about that. These guys hit system jump just to get that shit, you know? Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Or they can buy a PC.
Yeah, but they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. You know that. They're going to system jump. So that's actually a very smart move on Sony to do that shit because it may, even out things during the fall. Who knows? Very interesting. But yeah, the whole movement is fucking retarded. But Rico, like you said, it's to be expected. These are Call of Duty fans. Let's just be real. Let's just be real here.
Yeah, those fans are like 12 years old, so fuck those guys.
Yeah.
We all know it's true.
It is true.
Yeah. For your information, they're 11 and a half. You get it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, fucking shooter man.
They are
fans.
11 and 10 months old. God damn it. Get it right, Brian.
Oh, man, it's ridiculous. Brett, do you have any thoughts on this dumbass movement?
Just that it's a dumbass movement.
There's not really much to say, I guess.
I understand that most of the install base for Call of Duty is on Xbox. And so does Sony, which is why they spent the money. I also understand that it's important to you to not be playing this a month late. Again, so does Sony, and they spent the money. So you can rage, or you can buy a PlayStation.
You know, it would be so funny if they all console hopped, and then the next year Xbox got the rights back. They're like, oh, motherfucker.
Well, but at least they have the Xbox just in case something like that happens.
A lot of those people, when they console hop, they sell the console for that money to get the next one. So majority don't do that. They don't keep 2 consoles. They only want to play 1 game. They're going to stick with that 1 game. They don't move all the ranks over because the shit isn't in a server base. So
yeah.
They're going to sell their consoles.
Ridiculous.
Unless they do something for those people, it's like, well, you can continue your progress in this one, right? No.
Yeah, they're not gonna do that.
All right, this one is it's not exactly an E3 question, but it is about an E3 game. This is a funny one. Horizon Zero Dawn has a female main protagonist who looks strong and she's fully clothed and not showing any TNA. You think the feminists will be satisfied? First of all, no, they will not. The feminists will never be satisfied. But I did like the fact that there were a lot more female protagonist games, like Record, that's another one. Tomb Raider, obviously. So it was pretty cool on that end. There's a couple others too. Mirror's Edge, that's another one. Good stuff. I mean,
Hellblade.
Hellblade, that's right. I mean, yeah, granted, we make fun of feminists because they're a bunch of fucking idiots, but we like seeing all types of different people. That's why I always pick a woman when you customize them because there's just guys in games, So yeah, that's cool by me.
Almost every female you named, I think, is pretty close. So
yeah, exactly. Fucking Lara Croft is wearing a Tomb Raider, especially Tomb Raider. Only see is her face. Everything else is covered up. She's gonna get cold.
No, I mean, in answer to the question, no, they won't be satisfied because the woman is still very attractive. She's still very physically fit. She doesn't have anything obviously wrong with her, and she solves her problems through violence, which is apparently a patriarchy thing.
No,
okay. No, because the problem that I heard with a lot of people had with the new Mad Max movie was that people are like, "There, you happy? You have strong women kicking ass, taking names right along with the men, most of the time more so." And the response was kind of like, that's just strapping boobs on a man. And in fact, I believe that term comes from She Who Shall Not Be Named.
Oh yeah, not literally, Brett, like you asked. I ran by her a couple of times. She's very short, by the way.
Did you run her over?
No, I didn't run her over because I ain't trying to get kicked out. But I will say this, and I'm trying to, not say it directly as I usually do. She has a very nicer back than I expected. I was surprised. I'm like, oh, I know she probably was like, I'm a sexist pig now. But
I'm not sure if you just guys heard the face palm.
Yeah, but honey, I'm just saying, it's looking good back there. Anyway,
if she didn't want people to see it, then she would be wearing a nun's outfit or something.
I'm just hilarious. I just find it hilarious that you just ogled her.
Hey, I'm a man. She has certain bits that I like.
Tony's like, I really hate her, but I'll watch her leave.
Yeah, hey, just saying.
You should have taken her badge and ripped it off.
It was just interesting, we talk about this when she was literally like within like less than 5 feet from me, like, oh, that's her, and she's like my size, even though I'm sitting down.
I think that also kind of attributes to her very tough kind of nature, is because she's a small person.
I was thinking
that. That's right.
That's a double minority.
I've had people that have been my bosses, and they all have like short person syndrome. Where the fact that of course I'm like 6'2", and then they feel they have to kind of be like be like
that's
that.
That's a Wawa mentality.
When it's like, number one, you shouldn't feel threatened by me because I'm just that doesn't matter, So yeah, I also think that part of where it comes from is also the fact that she's not as she's not tall. She's a little person. And I'm thinking also, when, you have those situations where people are like, F you, you bitch, and stuff like that to her, she probably takes that even more to heart because she officially can't really do anything.
Yeah, she's not physically imposing.
She's not physically imposing. And she probably feels that people take her for granted because she is not, she's not tall. She's not.
By the way, I find it funny that around E3 there were flyers like she's lying to you, like anti-Anita flyers, basically. Very interesting.
Those were put up apparently by an inflammatory middleman group that likes to stir trouble between controversial opposing sides. So that was literally just a shit stir.
Oh, okay.
They've also apparently been known to put razor blades underneath their posters, so when people try and remove them, they cut themselves. They are truly a group.
Wow. Okay, fuck those guys then. If it was like a genuine thing, then
that's actually pretty smart.
Yeah.
Hey,
right,
I admire their cleverness, yet I despise how cruel they can be. So
yes.
Hey.
All right, let's move on. But yeah, go ahead, Brian.
We attach like a cow catcher to like the front of your wheelchair, and that when we see her, wheel you towards her, and then what happens will happen. Hey.
It's the metal baby.
Yeah, I'm surprised I caught her because that was one of those instances where I was mobile because I got to Microsoft and I had to check what my appointment was, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, that's her, and then I see her again in the press room. I actually took a picture of her. I zoomed in and stuff, all sly, and I sent it to Rachel, and she was like, ew.
She's considered press now.
Yeah, she was in the press room. I don't. She's her. She can do it where she wants. There's something else too, but I'll say this shit off air. There's certain things I won't say on air. Anyway, last question from Final Stage Boss.
Go
ahead, Chris.
Say one more thing. I mean, they're not going to be happy with Horizon, like feminists in particular. But if you're in particular talking about her, she's not going to be happy because being happy that there's a strong female character that fits the bill of everything she wants does not fit her agenda. It does not make her money at the end of the day, so no, she's not going to be happy.
See, that's the other thing. That's the double-edged sword. She gets paid to not be happy now.
Yeah.
If she were to say, "Oh, well, that's a step in the right direction," then people will be like,
her
"Oh,
job's
okay,
done.
yeah."
Her career's
Her
over.
job is done, exactly.
Her career's over.
She literally.
And plus, we don't know the story of the main character in Horizon, so I'm sure she's going to find some sort of damsel or some sort of little trope inside there that she can nitpick at.
Why does she have to have dreadlocks? Why can't she be sexy?
Why is she skinny? Why is she fat?
Yeah. Why is she white?
Yeah,
why we actually don't have any. We should actually have we have Fat Princess, but she's like the only fat female protagonist in all video games I can actually.
But she's being rescued.
She's being rescued, so therefore she's not. She's no.
You can find a shit.
I was just trying to find a fat female, regardless.
There are plenty of other fat male characters though. Just to put it out there.
Right.
Lots in fighting games. But can I just like throw in like a quick spanner in the works? Why
don't we have any fat female fighters? Okay.
Well, actually, can I just throw in like two spanners, like just to be like an asshole? One, like a black people in video games. Like, did anyone else like notice any black guys in those video games? Because I didn't. And
yes,
also,
you want to know all the people of color are relegated to being secondary characters.
Wait, no, the only black people I saw in all of E3 were Pele and the guy who was quickly made in Fallout 4.
Thank you for bringing that up, because it was like, hey, here's a black guy. No, we're gonna switch him to the white guy.
Yeah, they switched it right back.
And also in Horizon we have a white girl with dreads. Isn't that cultural appropriation?
No, actually.
That's topical, isn't it?
Here's the thing I think about Horizon.
Hey, we're living in a what's it, a trans-racial world now. So
okay. Look at it this way. If civilization really has fallen, okay, number one, the whole dreadlock thing, like they're dressed like Northern Europeaners. They're dressed like.
It's a joke. I don't know.
Oh, I know. But I've actually heard
you know, like, let them go.
Why is everybody white? It's like I don't think everybody's white. They're kind of this very light brownish, and I kind of got the impression, and tell me if I just took this completely wrong, but I kind of got the impression that long after whatever fell, everybody just kind of homogenized into a light brown color.
We'll need to see more characters confirm that.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. She seemed white to me.
Everybody that they kind of almost have like a little bit of like Alaskan look to them. And everybody that you see in the game is that they have that same kind of tilt to the eye and that same kind of complexion. So it makes me think that everybody's like the same race now, but
we're a nondescript race.
Yeah, it's just like with Heavenly Sword. Nariko, she had like Asian eyes, white skin, red hair, dreadlocks. She was everything.
Yeah.
All right, but yeah, feminists will not be happy. Let's just be real. They never will be. Nope. All right, last question for Final Stage Boss. This one's a little bit of a two-parter. Okay, and we talked about this before, since Microsoft announced backwards compatibility on Xbox One, who's going to buy Gears of War Remastered? If Microsoft said it's up to the publisher to allow their Xbox 360 game to be played on the Xbox One, and since Microsoft themselves own and publish Gears of War, they can make it backwards compatible at any time. Do you think they allow Gears to be backwards compatible, or purposely not allow it in order to sell more of the remaster? That's a damn good question, that last one. They could, but the thing is, now we established that they're going to have both. But they could technically, nix one version. You know what I'm saying? But apparently they're going to have both. So who knows? But they could do that. That's within their power.
A common phenomenon. Square Enix is doing a HD port of Final Fantasy and remake.
Playing that. Exactly.
Yeah, the troll.
I'll actually be playing that one. So.
There you go. But yeah, Square Enix was talking about how they just want both versions out there because the remake is going to be completely different. Not going to be just up-res or whatever. It's going to be from ground up. But yeah, I guess this question is a little bit irrelevant now since Brian found that little link there. So you're going to have both, But they could do that in theory.
I'm not saying that it will come out. I'm saying that picture is there, and whether or not that indicates that they plan to or they will, I don't know. I just found it interesting that it's the first Gears of War, not 2 or 3 or Judgment.
Yes.
So
exactly.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it is. If it is, then hey, more power to them. You get to play with 360 guys and Xbox One guys, which is cool.
Because here's the thing, though, they have Halo Reach on there, but they don't have any of the other Halo games that are remastered.
I think they had ODST at the top left corner.
Okay, check that. Yeah, just verify that.
Yeah, ODST. Oh shit, ODST and Halo Wars, but Halo Wars is kind of shit. So wait, and another Halo at the far right-hand corner. I can't tell what that is. I just see the H and the A, so it could be.
Brian is finding some shit tonight, boy.
Yeah, I can't tell what that Halo game is, but there is another one like on the top right of Perfect Dark. I don't know what that is. It could be 3. I'm guessing it's 3. I don't know.
So they are going to have like remastered games alongside the original ones then?
Maybe so.
All right. So I guess Microsoft could technically do that, but I guess they're not. That's cool, I guess. All right. Moving on. Black Star. Question directed to me specifically. Tony, if you played or saw these games on the show floor, what are your thoughts? By the way, I'm going to list the games, then I'm going to go off on a rant. Just Cause 3, Hitman, For Honor, No Man's Sky, Dark Souls 3. I only got to play one of these, For Honor, and I got to see Dark Souls 3. I didn't mess around with Just Cause 3, Hitman, or No Man's Sky, and there's a reason for it. Rant time. This E3 was fucking terrible when it came to the people that were there. You had 5,000 extra people there, right? Which made it very hard for us to get our work done because every line was insanely long. Your press badge, this thing right here, the shiny little press badge here, meant absolutely nothing. You got put in a fucking line no matter what. For Honor, for example, right? I was on that shit. Actually, let me go back. I went to Ubisoft. I had an appointment there. I had an appointment for Ubisoft. Right? When I went last year, I got to see 6 games in about an hour. I got to see 3 games in 2 hours because of these long-ass lines. It was insane. So I'm like, okay, I've always talked about how I want E3 to be open to the public, and I still agree with that. However, do that shit another time. You know, do it after we're done doing our thing because you can't get any fucking work done. There's so many games. I was like, I'm not going to stand online for 2 fucking hours just to play this shit. It makes no sense. I know people that had VIP passes that had Star Wars was the worst fucking line of all. 2 hours with a VIP badge. You had to wait. That's how bad it was. So hopefully the ESA is going to get enough complaints from people, you know, press people like us, that they're going to change this shit because you cannot have these fucking, you know, let me calm down. You can't have these people there taking up space. And you knew who was professional, who wasn't. Doors open, first day. Professionals, we walk in. These motherfuckers run in. I'm like, this isn't Comic-Con. What the hell is wrong with you? I've heard a story about one guy.
They ran in last year, by the way.
Not like this, though. It was like,
no, they ran in last year. I was on. You didn't wait on that fucking line. I waited on that line, even though I was considered press at the same time, and people ran in. So
that was ridiculous. But last year they had a couple of those guys too, but it was only like 800 or so, and I was still complaining about that. But Star Wars, check this out. This actually happened. One guy tried to bribe his way in. He was like, he gave the guard money to be let in. The guard was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And he kicked his ass out. It's insane. And then during the EA line, this one idiot, he was trying to get us like kicked out of it, you know, because what happened is like, you know, the line was really big, and we were like, okay.
We had a friend online who was holding the space for us.
And he was holding space for us, and then it's like, you can't do that. I'm like, no, dude, he was holding space for us. Shut the fuck up, you know. And then he comes back 5 minutes later with a security guard. He's like, oh, these guys cut line. Like, their friend was holding their space for us. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what happened. He held our space for us, and they, you know, he was like, that's not right. That's not right. The security guard just had this face like, I'm not dealing with this shit, and he just walked away. And then when we get to the line, this motherfucker runs into EA like the house was burning down. I'm like, this guy was impressed. He was a fucking asshole, you know. So he had all these incidents. People couldn't play their games like because of this shit. So that's why I wasn't able to see any of this. So it's fucked up. I hope E3 changes. This is fucking
I definitely
stupid.
think okay.
Letting these fucking slack-jawed yokels, you know, ruining everything. You know.
That also includes me, by the way, because I'm.
And our viewers, or our listeners.
I was one of those slack-jawed yokels.
I'm sorry.
Unfortunately. But you know, the thing is that I also at the same time understood what the powerful course is there, and I essentially I only got to play really one game, and the thing is that I think that at the same time is that what really needs to happen. This is their kind of lazy way of trying to introduce the public to the E3 conference. Number one, what needs to happen? There just needs to be a press day or a couple of press days, and then on the last day. That becomes the open to every fucking Joe Schmo on the street day.
Dude, think about it. The last day of E3 is Thursday. Where you do Friday through Sunday, you open that shit up to the public. Let them have fun because E3 is awesome. Everybody should experience that. But at the same time, you can't have these idiots getting in our way, you know? So, you know, give them their own space, you know? Because I'm here, I'm trying to cover games for you guys, and I can't do my job effectively. That hurts. You know, that hurts, you know, my, you know, whatever it is, like, you know, my effectiveness. It really does. It's fucking stupid. You know, and I know why they did it, because they just want, like, remember they put this shit out, they were like, E3 had the highest attendance here. No fucking shit, because you had all these idiots in there that weren't supposed to be in the first place. Gets me mad. Anyway, let me talk about the games I played. For Honor, again, I had my appointment. I'm like, let me go check out For Honor. I don't know what For Honor is. Everybody's telling me it's amazing. I waited on the line for about, like, 40 minutes. And, yeah, it was like, I never played it. Like a game, like I guess like the closest one I could say is Dynasty Warriors, but it was just more based on like actual real combat and just pressing a button 50 million times and getting bored, you know. And I like the fact that.
About that?
What's up?
Just a quick thing on For Honor. How For Honor played. That's how Dinosaurs 3 versus mode used to play. And that saddens me that they just got rid of all the competitiveness in Dinosaurs. So it's just a single player now. So when I see For Honor, I'm like, yes, this is what I want. You know, hopefully fucking Koei sees this shit and they're like, oh, you remember when we used to do that? Yeah, we should go back to that. So yeah, I'm hyped for For Honor. But continue.
Yeah, but For Honor is interesting because it's kind of simple to learn. It's like, you know, it's like you got to block 3 different stances, and the guy always telegraphs, but it's a little bit difficult to master, and that's the way a game should be, you know. Excuse me. And then like they had a training mode, and it was pretty extensive. It was like 7 minutes because it's a lot of things you got to remember. And then the first match was actually both matches were the same thing. It was like capture certain points and stuff. And what's cool is you could actually like use catapults and shit like that. So if you see a bunch of dudes defending one point, you get to the catapult, you can just throw a shit and just fuck the whole team up. You know, there's certain points where you can heal and stuff. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, again, I was just very surprised by it. I don't know if there's going to be a story mode. I hope there is because what I played was cool, but if it's just that, then it's going to get boring really fast, you know. But it was pretty interesting. And then Dark Souls 3, I had an invite to that. You couldn't play it, obviously. It was just hands off. And maybe you, Brett, you and Chris can help me fill in the void here because they kept mentioning, like, oh, the world is coming to an end. I'm like, wasn't the world already ended? Like, there's a bunch of monsters all over the place. And they mentioned, I forgot the guy's name, but they mentioned one guy who's like a part of the lore, and he's back or something.
Oh, God, you can't. God damn it, Tony.
What?
You can't just be like, there's some guy, he's part of the lore, he's back, it's super important, and you probably really want to know it, but I don't remember his name.
Yeah, well, I don't know. You want like, are you worried I'm going to spoil it? Because I didn't even say the guy's name.
No, I want to know. I want to know. Like, who's back? God damn it, that's important information.
I don't remember the guy's name. But,
no, man, you got to write some shit down.
Yeah, no, don't worry. I'll look it up.
You call yourself a professional?
And then there was like they showed some dude with like no face and stuff. Now here's the thing I found interesting about the game. Okay, they said it's faster than previous Demon Souls games, but it's not as fast as Bloodborne. So it's in that middle ground because I noticed that the guy's like heavily armored, but he's still rolling around and shit. I'm like, okay, that's cool because I didn't like all that slow craziness going on.
Yeah, but I mean, I could see a lot of Dark Souls people getting pissed off about that. By the way.
Yeah, I mean, I was in a room full of Dark Souls people. They were pretty happy about that. But yeah, the game moves a lot faster than Dark Souls, but it's not as fast as Bloodborne at all. You know, like, but you could dodge around a lot, and the monsters were pretty cool. Here's what I found interesting: there's one specific enemy they call him like the something knight. Like he scales with you no matter what. Like you know how some enemies you could become more powerful than them. Now with these guys, yeah.
Oh.
The game looked really fucking nice. What I liked about it was like they were like, oh yeah, you see that mountain all the way in the distance? You could go there. Like I said, it's the biggest fucking game in the series easily. You know,
isn't Miyazaki back?
Yep, Miyazaki was in the room, man. He was the one telling us about this shit. Brett, Miyazaki was literally 10, 15 feet from me, bro. He was right there.
Nice.
We feel different.
Should have asked him about the new Tenchu game.
You know, but he had his translator, obviously. But it was pretty cool. But yeah, the game is really sprawling and stuff. Like they say, you could go inside of like a lot of the buildings. You could go to any mountaintop and stuff. Pretty cool.
Did they mention the area you're supposed to be in? What country you're in?
They may have, but I'm not familiar with Dark Souls, so I'm not sure. I know you and Brett were like, "What is this? Is this blah blah blah? Is it blah blah blah?" So I can't tell you.
Stuff that looked like it was from the first game. Like there's a guy and he's walking through what looks like Sen's Fortress, and it looks like locations from the
Yeah, they did say that it's going to tie in a lot to the previous games. They're going to, it's not exactly a wrap up, but it's going to bring a lot of shit back. A lot of things people, fans are going to remember and stuff.
Yo, man.
A lot of lore.
Yo, man, the biggest question on everybody's mind: soul memory.
Soul memory. They didn't mention it. They didn't mention it at all. So
I
don't
hope
worry
they
about
don't bring
that.
that back. I really hope.
That shit was not mentioned at all.
Even if Soul Memory is brought back, they still have the ring for that. So that's fine.
So yeah, those are the games I played. I played a lot more games. So you guys will see my previews and all that. Okay, the next question: did any of you use the VR headsets? Thoughts and opinions. First, Manny, did you?
No, huge fucking line. I like the Oculus. I walked by the Oculus booth. That thing was mobbed. Literally, the line doubled around the goddamn booth. For Sony's, it was also very huge. They also had this huge compound for the VR units.
Yeah.
So you also couldn't actually see into the damn thing.
So Tony, what I'm hearing is that there was a large VR presence at E3 this year.
There was a large presence at E3. Period. Every fucking line was mobbed like that, dude. You know, it was ridiculous.
So there wasn't a large VR presence at E3 this year.
No, there was, but the lines were just as big as they were for anything else. That's my point.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. So VR was equivalent to all the other stuff at E3.
Yes.
You would say it carried equal weight to the other technology at the.
I know what you're trying to do, Brett.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't as big as a Capcom line.
Has it been a year already, Tony? Because I don't think it has.
No, Brett. No, I'm sorry. I'm not conceding anything yet, man. Because I still maintain my thoughts. By the way, I want to talk about the fucking Microsoft thing. Okay. Despite the fact that was probably the best way to show that, it was still incredibly fucking boring. It's like, okay, cool. I get to put my hand.
I think also, you know, the fact that you're not interested in it also gets in the way of it too. I mean, it's like
okay, yeah.
It's like there's two situations there that you absolutely have no interest in, right in that section. The fact that they're talking about Minecraft and the fact that they're talking about some sort of, you know, holographic AR, whatever.
But the thing is, like, so wait, AR, I don't see how I could apply it to an actual video game that I would play. VR, I get. You put a helmet on, you play a first-person shooting game. I understand that. I can wrap my mind about that.
Didn't we? Oh, wait, no. Actually, on the Throwdown, we actually did go through a bunch of different possibilities for it. You could theoretically, you could totally pull off your HUD off your screen.
Yeah, but I'm not going to get that. Anyway, I did play a VR game, and I wasn't expecting to, by the way. It just weird how it happened. I had an appointment outside the convention center on the very last day. It was for this game called Time Machine. I didn't know it was VR. I just know it was, I got set up with the appointment. I'm like, okay, I'll go check it out. Very interesting type of game. Okay, if you guys don't know this, I am extremely frightened of underwater anything. It frightens the shit out of me.
Oh, really? Wow,
Yeah.
I have a friend just like you.
Like one of my worst fears is that I will be kidnapped in the middle of the night, put in a helicopter, and dropped into the middle of the ocean. And when I open my eyes, there's going to be a giant whale just staring at me.
But there's a story behind that one.
Is there a story?
There's a story.
Oh, the kind
The
of
reason where it comes from.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Tony, I totally feel you on that. I was just telling Rachel about that.
But so I'll tell the story another time. But anyway, so imagine me. I go into this thing. It's VR. I'm like, oh, it's a VR game. Okay, cool. They're like, hey, I hope you're not afraid of underwater. I'm like, what do you mean? What the fuck are you talking about? Like,
what you talking about, nigga?
They're like, oh yeah, the game you get to explore underwater, prehistoric underwater. I'm like, prehistoric underwater? You mean dinosaurs? And the guy was like, yeah. I'm like, oh fuck, you know. So
you mean horrible things lurking in dark water?
Yes, exactly.
Tony got to play a horrible things lurking in dark water simulation. That's awesome.
So I go in there and I put that VR. No, okay, the VR helmet. I asked him what it was. It wasn't. I forgot the name of it. You guys probably know. It's not the Oculus Rift and it's not the Morpheus. It's another one.
The Vive.
Samsung Gear.
Say that again. Okay, not that one.
Was it HTC something?
I think it was Brett. What did you say? You guys are talking over each other.
The Vive.
It wasn't Vive. I think Brian was right. I think it's the HTC. Basically, it's the equivalent of what the Oculus Rift was 2 models ago.
Okay.
Okay, so I put this on, and it had the usual VR thing where, like, because it's 2 images, right? And they're always slightly out of sync, you know, depending on where you angle your head and stuff. The game scared the living shit out of me.
Like, that means it did its job.
But here's the funny thing, and I'm skipping forward a little bit. When I finished it, I took the helmet off, and they're like, oh, wow, you actually finished the entire 45-minute demo. And I'm like, I was playing it for 45 minutes? I thought I was playing for 10. That's a good sign, right?
That's a brilliant sign.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. As scared as I was, the guy was like, and the guy told me before, he's like, listen, if this becomes too overwhelming, we'll stop the demo. And my pride was like, fuck that. My heart was skipping. I thought I was going to die, but I was like, just keep it going. Keep it going. Just these fucking dinosaurs about to eat me. Just keep it going. I don't care. And the interesting thing about the game is, and I'll write a full review on it, the game was made, the way the game was designed was based off the technology, because it was like, hey, this they have VR, this is cool, let's make a game about it. What do we like? We like dinosaurs, but we can't make the the frames per second 120. It's impossible. So what do? How do we keep it at 90 then? Set it underwater so you don't have to show too much. It's kind of brilliant the way it all came together. You know, like the design of the game was influenced by the technology, and the technology was influenced by the design. Very crazy. But the game is not really a game. It's more like a learning simulation thing, which I guess you could use that in schools because you learn about the animals and stuff, but the animals could kill you too. But they said they did a lot of testing with the game. Like basically, they slowed it down to a specific speed. Like I was like, hey, how can I go fast? Like no, because people got scared when they went too fast. And then they added a feature where you can actually stop time completely and just look around and stuff. Just in case a monster was just too close to you. Because there was literally one where they're like, oh yeah, you got to go inside his mouth and look at his teeth. I'm like, I don't want to do that, but it's like fucking just do it. I
mean, that's a good sign as far as immersion goes.
Yeah, but again, it's not a game I would play because it's like it's very gimmicky. But the technology was pretty cool. I'll give it that. It's just like the HoloLens thing. The whole thing what they showed was very impressive, but I can't see that translating into a game or something I personally would play. It's like okay, let me strap this thing on and scare the shit out of myself for an hour. It's like no, I wouldn't subject myself to that. But if you want to learn about dinosaurs and stuff, it's pretty cool. So yeah, that was the only VR experience I had because Charles and David, they were in charge of VR. I put them in charge of VR, so they handled all that stuff. There's probably shit written on the site already. They loved it. Another cool thing I saw in VR was okay, basically the guy was on a pad of some sort that moved with him, and he had a helmet on, and he also had a gun. So like basically the way he moved, like the character moved on screen too.
You've never seen that thing before? They've been
I've seen it. I've seen it in movies and stuff, but I've never like seen it in real life. So I thought that was pretty. I think
they have to wear like special shoes or something on it.
Mm-hmm. And they were kind of sliding around.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my little experience with VR there. Unexpected. I wasn't expecting to see that. All right, moving on. My man Grim Rook. Why are so many bots pissed at Sony for launching a Shenmue Kickstarter? Because Microsoft didn't launch it. That's why. Fanboys are fucking stupid. Let's just be honest. It's like, guys, Shenmue's coming to Xbox as well eventually. Chill out, But yeah, it's just fans being dumb. I mean, it's just like the COD question, fans being stupid.
Well, I've heard people complain that it smacks of illegitimacy, basically, seems to be the general concern that why would they show a Kickstarter at E3, which basically, like, they want to judge the hype surrounding it because they're trying to get investment, and the development process is still at its infancy stages, and what they're going to be able to do depends on how much money they can raise. So they want to raise as much money as possible and show investors that, like, most likely they have investors behind the curtains that'll say, however much money you raise, we'll put 10 times that amount into development, but you need to show us hype. And so they did the best thing they could have done. They fucking floored everybody's jaw at E3 by announcing it, and it was instantly funded. So it did its job spectacularly. I'm sorry that you're not used to things working this way, but grow up, Grandpa.
All right, anybody else got any thoughts on this?
No, he said it all right there.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, right. I noticed that it's interesting that now that's kind of become a thing. I mean, maybe since Blood Stain, where it's like even he
I met Igarashi, by the way.
Oh yes,
he
met Igarashi and Ed Boon.
Ed Boon, I got a story about Ed Boon. But go ahead. I'll keep going. But I think that's a new thing that's happening with Kickstarter, where it's like now companies are, big studios are using it as a way to gauge the interest of a game. So, Igarashi's game had funding. It's just it probably got even more. It definitely got more funding from the Kickstarter, but it also probably showed the investors like, hey, people want this thing. So yeah, that's how it was with Deliverance as well. Kingdom Come, the same thing with those guys.
Yeah, I also feel like that they're not only showing the interest. Especially with a situation like Shenmue, they probably needed that even more, because if you look at the numbers of the first two Shenmue games, they didn't do very well.
They didn't, exactly.
They did, and for a company like Sony or any other company, maybe even Sega, to invest in something that didn't do well, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's a risk.
It's a risk.
Yeah, and here's the thing: people are very truthful when it comes to their money versus having focus groups. Like if Sony just held focus groups and just said, "Hey, would you guys buy Shenmue?" But I'm sure overwhelming majority of people would say yes, right? When they said, "Will you back it?" Right? Then then the entire landscape changes. And I've said this in other shows that big companies do not test things. They sometimes don't have the luxury to test these big ideas or big games like Destiny or whatever. Like if EA tested Destiny, that would be a different story, right? But they just threw $500 million like, go make this big huge game, right? They don't know at the end of the day. They have their projections and stuff, but you don't have an honest gauge of how it's going to work. So Kickstarter has now changed that. I'm sure a lot of other companies now are going to start doing the exact same thing, just seeing like, should we invest in this new IP? Should we invest in this thing? Kickstarter it, see what happens, see if people are interested.
Well, the cool thing is too that Kickstarter, like market testing, costs money, significant amounts of money, and Kickstarter makes money, also significant amounts of money. So it's a great way to gauge public interest while offsetting costs. And what I'm really hoping goes on is you're going to see smaller game creators. Hopefully, we'll kind of find what more people doing what Valve does, where you see somebody have a game concept, they get together a small team, they launch a Kickstarter, Kickstarter maybe is wildly successful, and they're approached by a game development or game publishing studio that says, I'd like to throw another $100,000 or another $5 million or another blank amount of money at this project that you're working on, and be the one to bring it to market. Like that would be the optimal thing in my opinion, because it would encourage the cream to rise to the top, and it would be the best for what gamers are looking for. So it really it strikes me as short-sighted when people complain about companies using Kickstarter, because if you follow the line of logic, it's going to be good for us all.
It's definitely going to be good for the games that, like Shenmue, that are, forgotten, probably failed in the past, but has a big fan base behind it. One game I personally want to see make a comeback, it's fucking Sonic Adventure. I want to see motherfucking Sonic Adventure 3. And with this little Kickstarter thing, maybe that's possible. Maybe Sega and their broadcast could go and do a Kickstarter thing just like, Sony and them do, to see how many people are interested in Sonic Adventure 3. And I'm sure there's a lot of fucking other people out there that want it just as much as I do.
It's a brilliant thing. Like I sit back and I marvel sometimes at how much the landscape changes. For those of you that don't remember, there used to be a little sci-fi show called Firefly that got taken off the air, and all we could do is write petitions and get on the internet and try and buy fucking movie tickets, and it was honestly never enough. I feel like in today's landscape, if you cultivate a passionate audience like that, like if Firefly happened today, it would have been saved by Kickstarter.
Money fucking talks.
Easily.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point. Exactly.
So at least we have the security of knowing the things that we really want have a way to come to market, and the things that we really love have a way to stay around if we're truly passionate enough to pay out of pocket for it.
Right. So
that's always been the case.
It's old thinking to just say like, oh, companies have money, they shouldn't use Kickstarter. Kickstarter's for guys who don't have, huge bank accounts or whatever. They shouldn't use Kickstarter. That's old thing. Like now to test stuff and see like if it's gonna work. Like that's a good way to do things. It's like Brett said, why spend money on marketing focus groups when that just burns money and doesn't provide accurate results, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's like the best way of gauging results. You get the actual fans to actually put their money where their mouth is, literally. That's definitely a good thing. All right, the last question here by Grimrook. This is going to be a fun one. Okay, Final Fantasy VII Remake. What changes, if any, do you want, and what things do you not want them to touch? For me, it's the battle system. I want turn-based all the way, old school. All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of it. What do we want changing? What do we want to
I think we said it before. I think the biggest change, if it'll probably be turn-based, but I think it'll be a lot more faster turn-based, kind of like 10.
Yeah, they definitely got to keep it. Yeah, go ahead, Rico.
Tetsuya, I already read an article that Tetsuya said it's not going to be turn-based, and he doesn't want it to be turn-based this time around. Which is
that might piss some people off.
Yeah, that actually irked me, and I'm just getting into turn-based. I'm actually going to play Final Fantasy VII, and there's a couple other games I'll sweep it in. Next year, I'm going to be playing a lot of turn-based games.
Riku, you're evolving, man. This isn't the same thing I had 3 years ago, man.
Yeah, so even when I heard that, I was just like, So people who are really touched by Final Fantasy VII, when they heard him say he actually doesn't want He literally said these words: "I don't want Cloud to run over there, attack someone, and go back to his place." He said that.
You know
So
what? Yeah, you're right about that. I want to touch on that for a second. Here's the thing: if this is a remake, okay, let's break it down. Okay, you're gonna have the PS4 HD version, right? The PC version, right, Brian? You're gonna have that. You're gonna have that, and then you're gonna have the remake. Why should it be turn-based? Why can't it be different if you already have the original one, doing turn-based stuff, right? I'm just asking that. Why can't it?
Honestly,
Yeah.
Here's the thing: when they did remakes before, they actually did remakes where they still were, respectful to the past games. Meanwhile, also giving it a nice new coat of paint and retranslating and doing a bunch of other things. I do think that's a very dangerous thing to do.
It is, yeah.
It is.
In a game like that. I mean, what are they going to turn Final Fantasy into? Like,
to 15, basically.
To 15, or even something even like a Mass Effect or a Dragon Age.
It's possible, but the thing is, if they do it right, it could work. But it's like you said, it's a very dangerous thing because if you get it right, then you're probably going to get a whole ton of fans in. If you get it wrong, you're going to alienate the new fans and the old guys. So
what if you had an option in the menu that allowed you to switch between real time and turn-based?
That would be nice, wouldn't it? I don't know if they'll do that, but yeah, that would be cool. Actually, that would actually.
I mean, the one thing about not doing turn-based is the fact that it's very accessible to people that do not like turn-based games.
Yeah.
But I do feel like if you're going to do a drastic thing like that, you still have to respect the people that are actually going in there and the people that have the memories of Final Fantasy VII.
But can't you also say at the same time the people who have the memories?
No, that's why I'm saying. That's why I'm saying. Why not have have that ability? If you want to take it to that point where you want to make it like, the original Final Fantasy, or at least Final Fantasy X, or the more faster paced turn-based systems, then give people that option. Don't make believe that it didn't happen.
Yeah, that's true. By the way, somebody asked, I don't know if they asked me, but somebody asked, like, hey, do you think in today's world they could get away with the cross-dressing part, the whole kind of rape scene? Like, yeah, I don't know if that'll fly.
Yeah. Yeah, they can.
You think so? Like, but Polygon will be the first one raising that controversy flag.
Polygon can sit and spin. Like, it's lighthearted fun that Monty Python did back when our fucking parents were young. Like, it's not a new thing. Like, if you're suddenly decided to prude up to the point where a man in a dress like just ruffles your feathers, like, go out and see the fucking world. Like, I'm sorry if we've become that sensitive. Now, there is a little bit of like suggestive, like, pushing things, but it's done in this ham-fisted homage to like Don Quixote kind of thing. Like, it's so over the top that it's tough to read darkness into it. Does that make sense?
I know, but here's the thing. I actually completely 100% agree with you. The problem is these other people don't see it the way you see it. The way of logic, they don't see it that way. They want to be upset by something. They want something to complain about. That'll give them fuel, I believe. It would.
And they may cut part of it or change part of it just as artistic interpretation, and I suppose they're welcome to do that. But
yeah, but let's get into specifics. I kind of want, because remember, Final Fantasy VII was a pretty dark game, but it also had a lot of light moments too. I hope they don't get rid of that stuff. Like, remember the whole scene?
They said as far as story, they're keeping a lot of stuff identical. It's the gameplay that's the thing that he's going to be changing up and switching around. But he said as far as story, he's keeping true to damn near everything. Darkness, everything that it had is going to be authentic.
Yeah, because I want the scene where they go to that casino and stuff with the chocobo races, all that fun stuff. I wonder if they'll probably change some of the secrets around, like how you fight Omega weapon or whatever. They'll probably change that around.
And he said he's going to be adding stuff in there also.
Yeah, I wonder how sprawling they're going to make the world. Like, are they going to have a world map with a little guy running around, or is it going to be?
I imagine they'll expand the towns quite a bit. Like,
yeah.
Like, they'll want to make you feel like you're there. So instead of just like these little places, like suddenly you'll see entire new wings of town. Like, they'll, and I imagine they'll probably make a lot of Midgard explorable, which would be awesome because I would love to see the different districts. And there's a couple places like, oh, I could run down this path and go in these two doors. Now it'll be like a full street with people walking up and down. And
You know what I'm thinking? I think they're probably going to be able to make the game they would have wanted to make back in the day. Because remember, a lot of those things you had to fill in with your imagination. Now they don't have those limits anymore. So I'm guessing they
Yeah,
probably
I mean,
would. Yeah.
think about it. The genre of turn-based was literally created because of limitations of the console back in the day. That's why that genre was created.
Well, partly. The other part was because that's how Dungeons and Dragons was, and that's the mother of all
True.
this stuff.
Yeah, true.
But you're right about that. Like, remember, like the games can only suggest certain things. Now they can actually show it for real. So that'll be good. The Sephiroth scene is probably going to be in there when he stabs Eris and stuff. I'll probably look pretty interesting. I wonder if they're going to do any CG
I wonder if they're going to
stuff.
make Eris. Oh, well, they're probably not going to do any. They're going to still do the CG in there.
They're still going to do that, I think.
But I
Square
think,
Enix,
I think at the same time, it's going to be a little more difficult to tell what is CG and what is actual gameplay.
You mean like with Final Fantasy 15? It's hard to tell sometimes. I'm like, oh,
definitely.
Okay. Yeah. May, anything you want changed or kept the same?
No, I'm interested in seeing what they do with it. If we're going down that road of change, I'd like to see what goes on. But I do at the same time feel that they should, when you say Final Fantasy VII to people, you have one half of the people who actually played the damn thing, and then you have another bunch of people who are be like, wait, weren't they up to 13?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why are they going back to 7? So
yeah, exactly. But I think that's the reason.
I do think that they should.
You know what I mean?
What was that?
I think that's why they have that other version around. Like, hey, if you really want the old school
if you want the
version,
authentic experience, play this one.
Yeah.
My question is how if it's going to be all done in real time, how are you going to control 4 party members?
Maybe that's the question.
And here's the thing: if they go by the Final Fantasy 15 engine, you're only going to be controlling Cloud.
And see, that's one of that I would have issue with that because a lot of my memories are setting up, team attacks. I imagine, and this is what leads me to believe, they'll have some kind of hybrid engine similar to, Dragon Age or KOTOR, where you can pause time and then jump between your characters.
It could be like the Tales games.
It could be, yeah. That's true. You could switch between characters on the fly. That would actually make the most sense if you could do that.
Yeah. So I would imagine there will be a way to play it turn-based, like you have a bar that runs up, and when it fills up, you can pause time and issue orders to everybody. And so if you want, you can just wait for that bar to fill up, press the button, do all your attacks, let them happen, and then press the button again, and it's pretty much the same experience, quote unquote. Yeah. As turn-based, or you can just not press the button and go whack at stuff, a la Dragon Age.
Yeah, it could be. Maybe it could be like a weird hybrid of the two, turn-based and real-time at the same time.
It would have to be, because I'll be pissed if I don't get a Transformers Vincent. I will be pissed.
Oh man. All right, Chris, I'm looking at you right now. Anything you want to change? Anything you want the same?
Well, I don't want them to nerf materia.
Yeah.
I mean, the materia system in that game was so amazing that by near the end of the game, I couldn't die. Like literally, I had the thing set up where I would even the summons would give me health back. So only the weapons could kill me because I remember the ruby weapon could just suck you into the ground and then that was game over. Like he's the only motherfucker who could kill you, but I had that shit set up. So don't change that. Don't leave that in there.
Yeah, I'm with you. Don't change the material system. I thought that was fantastic. Till this day, that thing's still fucking awesome.
That was the best battle and materia system they've ever had. Well, no, I take that back. Second best. I enjoyed Final Fantasy VI more.
Gotta make that clear to people, Brett. That's actually your favorite, but you always talk about Final Fantasy, so people might be led to believe that that's
Final Fantasy VI is actually my favorite. I loved Final Fantasy VII as a pretty close second, but man, the story and the setting and everything in 6 was just so good.
For me, it was 4.
Yeah, that's another great one too.
The one with Cecil.
Yes, Cecil.
Or Cecil, as I like to call him.
All right, move on to the last question here by Carlos Romero. Here we go. Game of the show. This is for everything. What was your game of show? Brett, let's start with you. What was your game of the show? I think I already know the answer, but go ahead.
Dark Souls 3.
Ooh, even whoa, I got back up. More than Fallout.
Ooh.
Making him, you're right now. You're making him choose his favorite child.
Yeah, it's really which child do I want to drown? Like, you know, I have not been disappointed by Miyazaki before. Like, I'm sure I will love Fallout, but I am stupid excited for Dark Souls, especially since they've teased what looks like familiar locations, and I'm hearing familiar characters. Like, the connections for the lore have been speculated, like long frenzied nights trying to figure this shit out, like community wise. So I know I'm not the only one that when you're like, no, there's answers, we're bringing shit to conclusion, and Miyazaki's at the helm doing it, you're like, okay, you've got my fucking attention. Because all the Souls games have been disconnected. You're telling me you're going to thread a connection between all these great games.
At least
Miyazaki said.
Those games. I'm sure there's definitely not any connection to Bloodborne.
No, obviously not. But yeah,
no, not Bloodborne. But there might be connections to Demon Souls in
that's
here.
true. And the game.
I don't know about that one either.
Actually, he said they're bringing back some possible Demon Souls stuff as far as gameplay goes. So I can also,
I don't think as far as I don't think you're going to see any real concrete Demon Souls things, because again, that is a Sony funded thing. So that's why Patches is in Bloodborne and not Dark Souls or Demons.
Yeah. By the way, a quick little anecdote of Miyazaki was talking about how he was really anxious to do Dark Souls 3 because he wanted to have dragons again. Like he's like, in Bloodborne I couldn't have dragons. I want dragons in a game. He loves them so much apparently.
We miss the dragons.
All right, so Brett, that's your game of show.
It's only giant men.
Yeah, Brian. Brian, what's your game of show?
It took me some time to figure this out, but I guess Doom was. Because like we finally got to see footage of the game that pretty much created the first-person shooter genre, which is like the biggest genre out there at like this moment. So, and it looked really fun. It looks like what games meant to be. It's like fast-paced shooting, no regenerating health, no checkpoints, like none of that bullshit. It looked like a fun game, and hey, I liked it. It didn't seem to have like a crafting system bolted on. I'm looking at new Fallout. It didn't seem to have anything that looked crap. It was a fun time, and plus you can shove someone's foot inside their skull. That's always a good time in my opinion.
Awesome. All right, Chris.
Brian took my answer.
Is Doom 4?
Let me tell you, man, when I started playing games on PC, like that was one of the first games I played, and I love Doom. I love Doom to this day. So when I saw it, I was super excited when I was watching Bethesda and I was watching that game be played, especially when I saw the finishers you could do. Like, he's just killing these guys with those melee attacks. And then I like the fact that in the old games, like, whenever you were missing a key, what did you do? You had to run around the whole map and try to find this fucking key so you could open the door, right? Now he took out that little droid and he can recreate a moment in time to see where the shit is and then follow it and then play through that. I thought that was amazing. So,
go ahead, keep going.
No, I just said I enjoyed it thoroughly. Like, I was excited for that game.
Here's the big question: is it connected to Doom 3?
Don't know.
I don't know. I mean, Doom 3 was kind of like.
It was kind of a rehash of Doom, like Doom in general.
Yeah, so I don't know if this is another remake or what. They didn't say.
Redoom.
I mute myself. I'm gonna go to Riku because Manny and I have the same answer. All right, Riku, what's your game of show?
My game of show is actually a Vita game that wasn't actually shown that much of, but it was there. And it was winning a couple of awards. It's called The Legend of Heroes: Trials of Cold Steel. And that's actually coming out this year. I think is fourth quarter of this year, and that's actually my most anticipated game for the rest of this year. And
really?
Yeah, it looks really fucking good. It's and I remember I told you earlier I said I was going to get into turn-based games next year. That's actually going to be the first turn-based game that I'm going to dive into. After that, it's going to be Persona 4 Golden, and then the Tales series, and then Persona 5. But it's going to start off with this game right here. And I saw gameplay of it. It looks really fucking nice. So I'm fucking hyped for that.
Oh man, you're living your life like it's golden.
Yeah, really.
Persona golden.
All right, my gamer show. I'm gonna take they had some cosplayers there, professional ones. These guys are from Italy. Let's see if you guys can see this.
Yep.
Yep. Metal Mother. Come on, guys. Metal Gear.
Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain.
Man, that demo. Okay, I'm gonna go first, May, because you got the good stuff.
Yeah, I got a different demo.
So I saw the demo. Like it was like an infiltration thing, and they showed more crazy shit. You're stealing goats and stuff. The game is just fucking nuts, man. Like I'm just loving everything. Like the whole sprawling world. The demo I saw, he had Dee Dee with him, the dog. Fucking awesome. You were just studying that the dog was fucking people up. It was great. And then at the end of it, he had D Walker, which is the little Metal Gear thing. He was wrecking shit. Fucking awesome, man. I'm like, this game's just getting me too hype right now. But Manny, you saw a better demo than I did. Mr.
Yes,
Fancy.
I did. What I saw was indicative of what I saw was indicative of what the final game will be. Because a lot of the demos that the Kojima guys show you are essentially just kind of set up so they can demo everything that you'll want to see. So it's like, put D2E in there, you put the thing in there. So in the demo that I saw, which unfortunately I did not get to play, which I've said multiple times.
You said that because those dudes behind you were playing it though.
Yes, there was their little feature room was served two purposes. There was one where they just sat you in front of a screen and somebody from one of the team played it for you, and then they had their their marketing guy or gameplay guy talk about what they were showing, and then of course behind us, which was the hugest tease of ever, was literally stations with the Metal Gear Solid the game running. Which, by the way, somebody went over their NDA because they made you sign NDAs when you went in there.
Oh, somebody broke that shit?
Somebody broke that shit and pulled out a camera. That wasn't during ours, but they pulled out a camera and were filming people playing the game on the consoles behind us.
Wow.
Not us, but the consoles behind it.
By the way, I got a mini story. I drank beer with Snake.
Yeah, because the Pro Evolution soccer section, they had a live bar there, so you could go if you had an appointment with Pro Evolution Soccer, you could get yourself a nice beer.
Yeah, because this is what happened. Quick story. So Manny was like, hey, like I can say it now, you knew somebody at Konami and stuff, and there's the same guy.
When Konami sent me over they send you over. When they invited me, they also sent me over the contact for the to register for the demo. Either I'm sure they didn't have any more. They probably wanted to have more famous journalists and stuff. We actually play the game, but they signed me up for the behind closed doors situation.
Yeah.
So what you do is I being that the email from me being doing journalist stuff before, I knew by reading it, this is the same dude, this is the same people that's probably handling the thing for press. So I said, all right, you know what, Tony, this is the guy that's handling the Konami registrations for the demos. Just send the guy an email, be like, hey, this is we'd like to go to your demo or whatever.
Yeah, obviously I set the shit up because I wanted to play Metal Gear. That wasn't the case. The only game I could play was Pez, and at first I was disappointed. I'm like, I don't, guys, me, I don't like soccer. Like, it's like, okay, whatever. I guess I'll just go there and do my thing. And I got there, like, oh yeah, we're not ready for the presentation yet. You could go in the back and drink beer. I'm like, I'm glad I made this appointment now. Holy shit.
Yeah, they definitely sweetened the deal with that one.
Yeah, the guy's name was Will. Really cool dude. By the way, here's the funny thing, man. That same appointment, I got a week later from the same guy. So I just made it a week earlier than I was supposed to. So I was hanging out in the back. I was drinking with those guys. I could have only talked to Snake a little bit because they're Italian. They barely knew any English. So I had drank a couple beers. It was Stella Noir, whatever the fuck it was called. I had that.
Yeah, that was good. It was a good beer.
Yeah, it was good beer. And then for the Pez appointment itself, since I don't know soccer, I pulled out my phone and I recorded the whole shit so I could just transcribe that. I'm not going to be like that Polygon guy. Like, granted, I didn't play it, but I will give you a good analysis.
The thing is that when you were in the thing about it is that when you were in the PES section over there, you could have actually sat with one of the testers and played it, which is what I did.
That's what I did too. The same guy that signed me up, PR guy, I had him show me the game and stuff, So so we did that. But
didn't he look like Tom Hardy to you?
The Asian guy?
Not the Asian guy. There was a guy. Okay, during at least during the demo I had, there was two guys over there from Europe. There was one guy who was actually playing, who was, I think controlling who was part of press, and then there was a guy who was actually talking and doing the presentation in the room.
Okay,
did you have that?
There was one guy outside. Remember, they had mother base set up, so he was outside giving us the whole rundown of it.
Oh, okay. See, yeah, I had a behind closed doors thing on that one too, where he actually talked about it with us. So,
yeah,
and the developer was behind us too, the guy who created the game.
Dude, I went to because they had not appointments, they had times where they were showing it like maybe every 2 hours. Man, I made it to the last one. I'm like, I'm seeing that shit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so yeah, Metal Gear 5, obviously, game of show.
Metal Gear Solid 5.
That's the game of the year, as far as I'm concerned. Fuck that.
They did an incredible job of demoing it. Like the one that Sean Eystone and Jackie were doing. Those guys are amazing because some people were like, oh my god, that thing is totally recorded. They're just playing video. No, those guys practice to do that stuff. I even got to talk to them a little bit after hours and be like, yo, man, you guys, did you guys just fly in and just automatically start training to do this? And he's like, yep, that's the way we had to do it. One fun little thing to notice about them, if you ever look at any footage of them, they're wearing a certain type of shirt that says a certain productions on there.
Yes.
It's a little something. I don't know. I'm not going to start any controversies on that sort of thing, but they obviously were still supporting the original name of the company. And also, not to mention, at the end of the footage, Snake still puts on that little Kojima Productions badge. So
yeah, yes, he does. By the way, you talking about how them practice stuff? You know who didn't practice their shit apparently?
Who?
Sony and Uncharted. It's like charge the controller before you start the demo, guys.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Like who? Yeah, like. But if you think about it, it kind of worked to their advantage. It's like, it's live.
Like everybody's like, oh my god! It's like, yeah, that's great, but
it's live.
Guys. But it's funny because you know what happened in the background. They're probably like, play the fucking video.
For me, behind closed doors on Metal Gear, what they did was they showed the mission that was indicative of what was in the actual game. You actually get they should actually show you how you get DD in the official game. You just find him like in one of the drop points, and then you just pick him up and send him back. And from what they said is that you can get DD no matter what. He will always be there, no matter what point in the game you decide to go. So you actually have to go out of your way to not get DD.
Really interesting.
So I'm guessing that there are others. They said there are other characters that cannot. There are other characters that you can totally miss, like Quiet. But DD, if you go out of your way to miss him, it's hard to miss him.
Yeah, Quiet was in the helicopters with those big ass tits.
Yeah, also something that some people didn't notice that I caught on with is that you can actually put put armor and stuff on your support buddies. So I'm sure if you're really offended by the way Quiet looks, you probably can throw a sneaking suit on her.
Yeah, and by the way, just like Peace Walker, you could actually play the missions as other guys. You don't have to.
You can play as other people. On your team. They actually all have faces now. They're not just kind of weird generic clone faces.
Yes, boss.
Yeah, they're not those guys. So, in the demo, what they did was they showed you, they did a lot of what, you guys have no doubt have seen, where it's like they're trying to find an interpreter, but the location of where the interpreter is a totally different location. It's not that bombed-out castle-looking place that you see in the demo. It's actually this kind of little outhouse. And then later on, they literally showed us the mission after. What they show in the demo on the show floor. So theirs was 3, and ours was one that was after that, which was 4. And then after that, they went over to the base, and their mission was to knock out a bunch of communications and stuff, which was cool.
Yeah, man, I can't wait. All right, so moving on to the next one. Carlos goes, who is hyped for Fallout 4? Hell yeah! Brett, that's you.
Only if I can make a black or Hispanic player.
Yeah, you can. Here's the thing about Fallout 4, because I didn't go to the Bethesda thing, right? Bethesda.
Bethesda.
Yeah. So I actually saw they had a 30-minute thingy, right? And I saw it right before this show. Yeah, it seems pretty cool. But again, I hope it's not buggy. Oh, actually, I want to touch on that real quick. Let's talk about Fallout 4. I find it very interesting that the game's going to have mods now. And you know why they did that. Here's my theory. They're doing that because they want the fans to fix the game for them. You know? Let's just be honest here. And then a little correction from Throwdown. Mods will be coming to the PS4. Remember, they never said exclusive. If you don't hear the word exclusive, it's coming to PS4. They said, hey, yeah, mods are on Xbox. Yeah, they are on Xbox, but they're also going to be on PS4 eventually, you know? So that's why they're doing a mod shit, man, because they know the game's probably going to be a buggy mess, and they want the fans to clean it up. Simple as that. All right, but so, Brett, I know you're excited. Hey, I'm just being real, man. The PC version is always the best one because
Party pooper. What? You shouldn't unfollow for me.
I'm sure you know.
Yo, Riku, you know what happened to me when I started talking shit about Fallout 4? Somebody came into the comment section and had a picture of me with like a penis on my face with jizz all over me and everything.
I heard about that.
Hey, listen, if the game runs right, it's gonna be fucking cool, man. Did you see Pip-Boy? Like, there's like animations in it now and stuff. You know,
I didn't even watch the trailer.
It's pretty fucking cool. If this shit, it's funny because Brett and I were like, why don't you just do Fallout 3, but just without bugs? They're going beyond that, you know, which is really cool. You play as like a guy who like survived the bombs and stuff. He was like in stasis for 200 years, so that'll be interesting. You actually get to see the world before it got blown to shit, you know, which is really cool. But yeah, I guess I'm kind of excited if they get it right because it looks cool.
How come he's still wearing the same outfit as the other guy? That same blue outfit.
Because he was in the vault. Everybody in the vault wears that suit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, is there anything else we need to say about Fallout that we haven't already said?
It's gonna be great. The dog will not be killable, so you don't have to worry about like loading every time the dog dies.
Oh man.
Yeah, but hopefully the mods will fix that.
Yeah. They probably.
Well, here, you know, I have to.
There's no fun if the dog can't die. Like it like removes the whole purpose of the dog being there in the first place, because you meant to like look after the dog, because now the dog just turns into a movable backpack essentially. Like, oh, you can add items to the dog. Oh, you can make the dog fetch stuff. So it essentially becomes a useless thing that flies around and does everything for you, but yet has no peril. So it's essentially, in my eyes, it's pointless. Like, if it can't die, then there's no point of it being there.
Well, then take I think the other companions are still killable.
Yeah, but I want the dog to be killable as well. Like, it was like it brings you that connection with the dog. You know, it makes you connect with the character. It's like, okay, this dog is here now. I have to protect it. I have to make sure that it lives so that we can survive to the next journey. Or I have to take care of the dog. You know what I mean? Like, it builds that bond between you and the character. Whereas if the dog can't die, then it's like, oh, I don't care. I'll throw down this well. It'll come back like in 2 seconds. I don't care.
Yeah.
You know, like people tend to like disregard things if they can't die because they just don't give a damn. Like NPCs in shooting games, it's like some of them just don't die. So then people just tend to just throw grenades like randomly because
or the
can't
doll
die,
in
so I don't care.
Say that again, Brett.
Or the doll in Bloodborne. People just murder her.
You know the one thing about the doll. Some people think that she might be, an old one, because she has white blood when you attack her.
I've heard that.
Yeah, she has pale blood.
Pale blood.
Yes.
So yeah, hopefully the mods will fix the non-dieable dog, because that's just fucking stupid. It defeats the whole purpose of it dog being there in the first place, in my
I have a
opinion.
feeling certain mods will not be allowed. You know, certain PC mods, like maybe graphical mods.
So you mean like nude mods or something?
Yeah, like nude mods or something
that's why
like
the
that.
PC is the best version. You get to do whatever the fuck you want with the game.
Because you get to have a naked mod.
You get to have killable children. Because why? Because there's still characters in the game. Like, if I can kill the shopkeeper, then I should be able to kill the kids. Because the kids fucking annoy me.
If there are kids.
You know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm just thinking about Mass Effect 3. It's like the only kid in the universe was a Reaper or something. It's like there was no other kids ever in the fucking series.
I'll wait for the mod that turns dog meat into a Deathclaw, so I have my very own Deathclaw.
Yes. All right.
Like I'm pretty sure that someone will mod the dog into like a Cerberus, because that would be totally cool.
Yeah.
You know. But I'm guessing that because of copyright or something stupid, it won't happen. But hey. That's why I gave him on PC. Wherever the fuck I want with my copy of the game. Apart from sell it, of course, because that's illegal. But you know what I mean.
All right. Moving on. Next question. Here we go. I like this question. Am I the only one happy that Guerrilla Games now doesn't have to work on that mediocre series called Killzone? Let's be honest here. I'm gonna get people mad, but I'm just being honest. Killzone was mediocre at the very best. It never went beyond mediocre. Let's just be real.
Everyone, it got pushed. Number one, it got pegged as or pushed as the Halo killer. It never reached that point at all.
Yeah, so yeah, I am glad that they're able to make another game now. Maybe something that's going to be better than Killzone. Killzone, it's dead as far as I'm concerned.
Halo's a big thing to live up to. Even the guys that are making the game now can't even live up to the original Halo game.
Exactly. Don't say you're the something killer. Don't do that. It's stupid. Rico, what are your thoughts? I know you like Killzone.
I like Killzone. I mean, he like you said, the majority of people find Killzone mediocre. It's a fun game. Will I agree with it being mediocre? I'm not even a big fan of first-person shooters in the first place, so my opinion on the whole first-person shooter genre is mediocre. So the fact that I like Killzone just fits right in place. So
interesting.
When it comes to that, I guess I like a mediocre game. It is what it is. I like dinosaurs. It is what it is. So I don't have anything to say about that. Am I glad they're making something else? Hell yeah. But they also did say that this Killzone's not dead. So
yeah, well, for now at least.
Yeah, for now it's on hold. But they said they're not gonna let let.
Didn't the war end? Didn't they just end the war? Wasn't everything fixed?
No, it got all fucked up.
They still want to make Killzone 4. Because Shadowfall was supposed to happen after Killzone 4, and Killzone 3 was inconclusive. So,
fool me once, man. Fool me once. I bought that Killzone Shadowfall. That game sucked. I sold that shit, and I don't sell my games.
Hey, but it looked nice.
It looked pretty, but it didn't play pretty, and it wasn't. I
like the multiplayer, so there's that.
Yeah. All right. Last question. Go ahead.
It's always good when game developers branch out to different franchises or different games in general, which I think is always a good thing. Killzone was pretty damn mediocre, to say that. I mean, it was Space Nazis. No, not say that Space Nazis was not fun. I enjoyed the first two. Third one, haven't gone around to it yet, and Shadowfall, I'll pick that up eventually when it drops down to a price which I think is reasonable for the game. But
£5.
Yeah, £5. The same price as the Order, I think.
That's the magic number.
I don't pay more than £10 for launch titles because fucking launch titles. Launch titles are too much shit by default. I'm sorry. They are name a good launch title. Exactly. Crickets in the background. So yeah, I'm happy they are. We'll see how it turns out. Hopefully.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Sonic Adventure, Soul Calibur. There you go.
Okay, that's two.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, 12-1 system.
Yeah, for one system, the Dreamcast. In Power Stone, that was a launch title. Ready to Rumble. Dreamcast was the shit. Anyway,
yeah.
Ready to Rumble. Ready to Rumble is a little bit debatable.
Yeah, I liked it.
I liked it, but
all right, Brett has a pet emergency. No. I really wanted him for the last one too. Shit, because he's the only other guy that watches Game of Thrones. Shit. All right. Anyway, Chris, are you happy that these guys aren't going to be? Are you happy they're making another game besides Killzone?
Yes, because it looks what we saw with Horizon looks good. I'm very interested in it. I'm kind of tired of Killzone. I played the first two and they were fun. And you know what? I was going to play Shadowfall until you told me it was shit, and I avoided it.
Yeah, dude, trust me.
So it really, to see them do something else, and actually they seem to be doing very well. I'm very happy for them. So I'm looking forward to Horizon. I really don't care that Killzone is on the back burner. I don't give a
shit. All right, the last question. I guess this is for me since I'm Rico. Do you even watch Game of Thrones anymore?
Yeah, I'm all caught up.
Okay, good. So you're good. So you can answer this. Okay, so does anyone see the parallels between the Nintendo and Stannis storylines? They're both lost it. yeah, I guess I'm not gonna spoil everything, but yeah, it's like they're making these decisions that are like alienating their followers. It's like I don't know. Actually, Nintendo's not really doing too much. They're just catering to their followers and just alienating everybody else. Meanwhile, Standish just does one dumb thing that it's like, dude, you're gonna lose half your fucking people. But Carlos, I guess since he plays games and watches Game of Thrones, he just put those two together. But yeah, I don't know what the hell Nintendo's doing, man. Like, I guess next year is when they're gonna have to come with it, with the NX, whatever the hell it's gonna be. This year they were like, this was easily their worst year. Yeah, I know the Nintendo fanboys are gonna be like, it was their best year as always. But no, come on, the year was terrible. Like Star Fox, that's all you got.
I don't.
That Metroid game.
Everybody's pissed off about the Metroid game.
To have a petition go up right after their conference to have the game canceled is like unheard of. I haven't heard of a petition going up that quickly since the ending of Mass Effect 3. It's like ridiculous. Now, I don't condone the petition. If you don't like a game, don't buy it, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure people are that upset. But here's the thing: like, there was so much disappointment coming out of their conference. People were just saying, I don't understand the Star Fox. I don't care about Skylanders. I wanted a real Animal Crossing. Why the fuck don't you love me and give me a Metroid that I want? None of those Zeldas are coming out this year. It was just one thing after another, which I was like, you really got nothing going on. It's like, oh well, and they don't give a shit. Like, that Skylanders thing should be a clear sign that they are, and the announcement about 52 new amiibos by fall. It's like, they're in toys now. They're going to make toys, and they're going into mobile, so they're just going to wait for NX, and they don't give a shit about Wii U anymore. So that's it. And alienating their fans. Reggie flat out said he doesn't listen to what the fans say. He didn't care about the feedback from E3. He didn't give a shit.
Wow. So yeah, I guess that's where he drew that parallel for Nintendo.
And he actually said that fans did not understand what they're trying to do. It's like, you don't listen to them. You don't listen to what anybody wants. You just do this shit, and then it's like, well, you don't understand what we're trying to do. What are you trying to do? Because nobody likes it, right? So I don't, it's this weird logic. It's like, if you listen to what people want and you gave them what they want, you would probably make money. It's easy. It just seems like, but if you do these weird, I don't know, illogical things and then get mad because people are mad at you and you get mad at your customer, I don't understand that. Makes no sense.
Yeah, it doesn't. All right, let's start wrapping this up. But beforehand, I guess me, Brian, and Rico give our thoughts on E3 because you guys already did that. Quick thoughts. The show was probably the best E3 since 2005 when like the last gen consoles were revealed. It was just bombs after bombs after bombs. This is the shit we've wanted for a while. The last like 3 or so, 4 maybe, have been kind of So I'm glad that they brought the heat. So, I mean, watching it, experiencing it was great, but, being on the show floor was bad. It was the worst year as far as I'm concerned on that end. But at the same time, if you got to play games, there were a hell of a lot more games to play on the show floor. It wasn't like last year where you just sat in a room falling asleep because you're just watching a fucking video. So, yeah, it had its good and its bad, but overall, I think it was more good. I think this was a very strong E3. This is going to be a hard one to top next year. I don't know what the hell they're going to do to top it. I don't think they can. I don't think it's going to be topped until, like, the next gen comes out. It was pretty good overall. Riku, what were your final thoughts on E3?
Well, I'll bring a little twist to it since, I didn't necessarily go to E3, but I went to the E3 theater experience, so I'll just talk a little bit about that.
Ah, yes.
Like I said, the last year's E3 experience, that was the first time doing it at the theater. And last year, it was laggy, there was buffering, there was advertisements in the theater, it was fucking terrible. It was only half a theater that was full. It was just, it was terrible. And this year, no lag, HD, no ads, and they had about 2.5 theaters playing it.
Nice.
So it definitely got way better than last year. So and a lot more people. So we went from half a theater to 2.5. So obviously people are hearing about this, and I'm guessing next year is going to be even bigger. But it was really good, especially with the shit that they showed. Like you said, this as far as announcements and stuff that you could have gotten, this is the best we've seen in a long ass time. And the stuff that they gave us were pretty good. We actually don't even know what the hell we got. They just gave us a like voucher that said in a couple of weeks we'll figure out what it is. But last year I think we got a $10 PSN code, Battlefield Hardline beta, Destiny pre-alpha code beta, and I think it was like a PSN theme, and then I think it was like another beta. So the point is, these little voucher codes are apparently to betas, and the only betas I can think that are coming out in the future is the Uncharted beta, the
Street
apparently
Fighter.
called
Street Fighter's one too.
Street Fighter has a beta too. I know Call of Duty apparently is having their first console
Yes,
beta.
they are. By the way, Call of Duty played on the show floor for the first time. My impressions are up there. First time they ever did that. And Destiny actually helped me be good at that game. But when I played Destiny afterwards, it did not help me.
Oh, wow.
You know?
That's funny.
Because you know how it is on Destiny. You have to unload like 2 clips on a guy to kill him. Call of Duty, you shoot the guy like once and he's fucking dead. You know, but yeah, so it might be Call of Duty. I'm pretty sure it's Call of Duty.
Yeah, my friend said it's most likely one of those beta codes is called. I'm praying that one of those beta codes is motherfucking Uncharted 4. Because we know the people who are picking up that collection, if anyone's picking it up in the first place. I know they're getting a beta code. I'm predicting that we'll get a beta code too, because usually when those Uncharted beta codes come out, there's multiple places that give it.
Yo, Riku, you know you and I are going to get those platinums again, right?
Oh, yeah. There hasn't been an Uncharted that I haven't gone to platinum yet. So
there you go.
That streak going. Even the Vita version. Alrighty, but yeah, that's it. Theater experience is really good, and I'm definitely going to be doing it next year, if not the real thing.
All right, Brian, what are your final thoughts on E3?
It was good. It was less of a fluff crap. Like, not much business talk from both sides. Well, from all sides in general. Like, Sony didn't talk much about their business. Microsoft didn't talk about their business. They shown what I think they should show in the first place, which is games. You know, we go to these E3s to be shown games, and that's what they did. Lots of games, lots of gameplays, lots of announcement trailers with gameplay, which is good. The only problem I had was pretty much a fuck you to Sony for the whole, hey, pre-order now and get exclusive beta access on pretty much half the games that they showed, which I was like, why? How am I supposed to know that the game is going to be good? And like, how am I supposed to know that I want to play the game if I haven't played the game? You know, like, that's BS.
You can cancel your pre-order, but that's a lot of hassle too.
Yeah, but why should I have to do that? Like
because they want them pre-order sales, and that's probably what the back guys
and
them pre-order numbers.
And hence the fuck you. You know, like, I don't pre-order shit unless I know it's going to be good. That's me, you know, like, and I'd just like.
Yeah, I see.
And plus, like, Riku, like, wasn't like one of the selling points of PS Plus what, like, get exclusive access to betas and
apparently
that's right.
I think
that, guys.
They haven't even. I think the fact that that is required now, that they just can't give betas to everybody now. Now they're just pushing you get free games every month. They're just pushing that and forgetting, don't worry about all those other features PlayStation Plus used to have. Your main little prop that you're getting is your free games. Those betas, it's not about the betas anymore, unfortunately. I miss Core. Remember Core? Anyway.
I remember Core.
Yeah. So, but all in all, it was a decent show. Like, it was good. Yes, I was impressed by most of them. Like, most of the stuff. The only conference that made me fall asleep or that annoyed me was the Sony one, which it was, and I can tell you exactly when.
Wow, the one that got the most people hyped is the one that got you bored.
No, I can tell you why and when, and you'll see exactly why. When they started talking about PlayStation View and Spotify, I was like, I don't give a damn about this. I don't give a damn about PlayStation View because, one, it's only available in the US, and two, it's only available in like 10 states, which is like still bullshit. Because what about the other states? Like, do those guys just get pawed off? I don't know.
Thankfully, it didn't last long. I'll be honest, I don't even remember that shit.
It was a little bit of an annoyance. They theoretically they could have also had. I'm glad they didn't bog the show down with the fact that they updated their media server or whatever.
They just slid that in there, But
that was like the low point.
You thought it was more boring than EA when the EA one was the worst. Like, okay, yes, you had
EA was annoying.
I understand Pele is a legend. I get that. You don't have to spend half an hour with this dude on a fucking It's stupid. They should have had that. I'll stop because I'm going to get back.
I also the other issue is also mysterious why the fuck he was even there.
It's like I am
Yeah,
Pele. I
is
am
he in the game?
Yes,
They
yes,
didn't
yes,
give
yes,
us-
yes.
He's in the game.
Well,
I'm guessing.
he's like 50
I'm
years younger and stuff.
I'm guessing that he'll like feature on the box art
Oh yeah, you
because
know, like young
I
Pele and
am
shit.
I'm guessing that it's like some like 50th anniversary or some anniversary of his
Oh,
that
Chris said
they're celebrating him.
Chris actually brought up a good point. Remember that there's also all the scandal that's happening with FIFA at this point in time.
Yeah, they're trying to make themselves look better, you know. That bullshit.
They can't make themselves look better. They're FIFA.
Yo, man.
I trust FIFA less than most government. I trust FIFA less than the NSA at this point.
Yeah, they're terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, they needed a clean face to bring up there, and that was the best choice to bring up Pele because you don't want nobody talk about the president or any of those bribes or anything. Don't talk about Brazil. Don't talk about how many guys are dying in Qatar building the 2020 FIFA stadium. Let's not talk about that. Here's Pele.
Wow, here's Pele. Here you go.
Yeah,
everything is beautiful.
The A1 was a bit
beautiful
bullcrap.
game.
The thing that pissed me off most about the A1 was like how they kept on saying, "Hey, Battlefront will show in X amount of minutes, so yeah, stay tuned." I'm like, why? Like, if your conference is that good, then you don't need to tell me that it'll show eventually. Like, just bring fucking games.
Yeah, but I was
like, hey, Battlefield in 1 hour, Battlefield in half an hour. Like, please don't leave us.
I don't understand how Bethesda had their show so well lined up, and their very first show. And what show is this for EA? It's like, get a better director, guys, man.
Yeah, but by the way, Bethesda had their shit lined up very well as far as presentation. As far as getting in, it was a fucking mess. I got stories for you guys, man. It was horrible. By the way, Brian, Need for Speed looked really fucking nice though, man.
It looked good. The only problem I had is the camera angle when you're drifting. I don't like.
Yes, I mentioned that to Charles and to Nash. I mean not Nash. Dave that was sitting next to me. It was like, oh my god.
And remember, our friend Maylene, she played it, and she was like, yeah, that kind of bugged her out too.
Yeah.
You know, we did that. Oh, by the way, guys. By the way, other Zinc. Quick note: I played Forza 6 Playboy. You'll get to read what I said later on, though.
Funny thing is that when I seen the trailer for Forza 6, I was like, oh, Forza 6, okay, cool. And then I seen that one moment, and I burst out laughing. Try and guess which moment it was.
I didn't see the trailer. What was the moment? Oh, the 1080p. Yeah.
I couldn't stop from laughing. I'm like, wow, it's going to happen again and again.
Oh, man. All right, but yeah, there you go, E3.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, and if you want Manny and Chris' thoughts, listen to the last Throwdown. Good stuff. All right, couple post-show things here. So yeah, more impressions of E3 are coming this week. Remember, there was 6 of us there, so we played a lot of shit despite the lines and all that. Actually, here's the thing. A lot of the guys, they were smarter than I was. They picked indie games, so there weren't any big lines for that. I went AAA, so it was the horror
I mean, you know, you got to get all those AAA games because, you know,
you have to.
In general, people want to know what those games are.
Yeah, but again, I didn't have that problem last year. Everything was fine. But so yeah, a lot of impressions. All mine will be up this. I have as a matter of fact, let me tell you what I have coming for you guys. I have it all jotted down here. Got a vamp here, memo. Here we go. So I will have Forza 6, Destiny DLC, Skylanders, Lego Universe, Tales of, Anno, which is a very interesting game, For Honor, The Division, and I don't have it here, Ark. I didn't play it. I had a demo because I don't know how to fuck with PC shit. I was like, yo, my man, can you just play it for me? That game was cool. Street Fighter V I also played, and something else too. Good stuff. So we got you guys covered. And
Tales of the Studio?
Yeah, that's what I played. Tales of, dude, Tales games come out every year. I just realized that. It's pretty nuts.
Everyone's calling it the dinosaurs of action RPGs.
Kind of, yeah, because the thing is, if you play a Tales game, you know exactly what you're going to get. They never change them, but people like that. So I understand the Dynasty Warriors mindset in that way. It's like, you don't need to change. You're happy with what you have. Same thing with Tales. Yeah, same thing with Tales. You give me the same Tales game, I'm happy. Okay, so here's the sort of big announcement. We have a lot of questions that were not E3 related, despite the fact that we clearly said no other questions but E3 questions. You guys asked us a bunch of shit. So we're going to do a special for you guys tomorrow night, which will be Monday. We're going to record, Manny, are we going to call it, what are we going to call this, a leftover special or something?
Yeah, we probably call it the leftovers.
Yeah, so it'll be another 15 questions, just non-E3 stuff. So we'll do that for you guys. So by the time we come back to episode 40, everything will be clean. No leftover questions at all.
We'll have as many Throwdown Your Question episodes as Throwdown episodes.
Yeah, basically. I don't know who's gonna be. I know I'll be on. I think Manny's gonna be on, and volunteer. Whoever is gonna be on, be on. It'll be cool.
Jump in.
Jump in, exactly. All right, so we're gonna have our fan follower of the week for Throwdown. I don't want to say who it is, but we've mentioned it many times, so that'll be very interesting. No, it's not Other Sing.
One of these times.
I'll give you a clue. He was on the Warzone many times, and his name is even in one of many of the bumpers and stuff. If you're watching, that's your clue right there. All right. Thank you for watching and listening. Make sure to follow the Coalition at thecoalition.com. By the way, we did a lot. Again, check out the Riyadh podcast. Check out the co-op. Lots of good E3 shit there. Subscribe to Throwdown on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Throwdown Show. Links are available in the description below. Once again, I'll show Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Michael Crawford. Emilio Lopez.
Whoa.
Brian Majoma.
There's only one platform to play Killer Instinct and Street Fighter 5.
Oh shit!
I'm just saying.
Dot.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful line. All right, and Chris Seeley, of course.
Hey, good night, everyone.
All right, people. Later.
Peace.